Hey, Raptor Freaks, Lexiot's here, Saturday morning. Normally we do a Saturday Share Love Club, but it was a game yesterday, so we're doing a reaction to a loss against the Houston Rockets in Houston last night. It's too bad. I want to say something before we start the stream today. This isn't this is preseason, and I've seen a lot of overreaction all over the place from last night by different people in Raptors fan nation. And I just want to say this is not the time to turn on your players or do any of this kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with this team. This team's going to be fine. This is what the preseason is for. Is to work things out, to get the rust off, to do things like have games where things look a little flat and say, okay, well, this is really good tape for the coaches to sit the whole team down and say, look, you guys can't do this way. You can't do this way. You got to try harder at this. You got to do this and make sure you're here. These are amazing, great teaching moments for these guys to improve before it counts. So we have to remember the perspective that we need to keep about this being a preseason game. So I don't want any overcriticalness. I don't want anybody making major assumptions about players for the year off of just 3 preseason games. It's silly, especially since we won 2 out of the 3. And last night, yeah, it was disheartening. And I did say yesterday, oh, I'm going to be mad if we lose. But there was something weird about last night. There was something very weird about last night. All right, Tom Duke's here. Good to see Raptor Freak Tom Duke. Starting Koloko and Dalano Banton is the backup point guard were positive stuff. It's just preseason. You're right. It's still a good morning. Happy Thanksgiving, Raptors fans. Happy Thanksgiving. It's Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend and stuff like that. Yeah, thank you, Tom. Yeah, I like to look at the positives, look at the things that have been shown to us from this. Starting Koloko was a very interesting experiment. I was like giddy when I saw that Fred, I mean, not that I don't want Fred to play, but for some reason I thought that he might not play in this game just because he's not totally suited to this Rockets team to play against and stuff like that in some ways. And it was kind of a good decision, but it kind of wasn't also. In fact, I could make the argument that we might have won this game if Fred VanVleet had played and that we saw exactly how important he is to this team for steadying us. This is very similar stuff to what happened last year when Fred wasn't on the court. We would have trouble and problems and struggle. Well, we saw it again last night, and that Freddie being in the game, just his presence being in the game, it shows the value of Fred VanVleet, what he is to our team. Now, I was not upset looking at that look with Koloko. In fact, when I saw the trade for height from Fred, our very shortest player on our team, to our very tallest player on our team, and that would increase our overall height in the starting lineup, I was like, yeah, let's try this out. Wow, yeah. And it really was, Scottie was the point guard last night. It really was. And he really didn't have a good game in some ways. I don't think it's because of that. But yeah, Scottie had a rough game last night. And I don't know. There's a couple of things going on with him right now where he needs to, I don't know, he just need to go back to the basics and really think about the fundamentals while he's on the court right now. I think he's trying to do too much in just a little bit of the extra kind of ways. Like, I've said to him on the stream this summer, the no looks are good as long as they're not getting caught or people aren't, you're still successful with them. Well, we did see a lot of like his no looks so far in the preseason have been getting caught and turning into turnovers. So I think before you start throwing no looks again, Scottie, you need to just do the regular kind of passes for a little while and just get the fundamentals down again in some ways. Because look, you were catching people off guard last year, but right now I think they've caught on to you a little bit with how you like to do no look passes. Now you did this one no look play with Dalano on the break that was absolutely fantastic. In fact, you were ignoring him, bringing the ball up the court, and everybody kind of forgot about him, and you just swung over and hit him. Easy layup, real easy layup by Dalano, and I loved seeing that stuff. So, yeah, I think Tom's right. I think that that there were some positives from this game, and that we're the positive Raptor fans. We're the Raptor Freak cult. We focus on the positives. If you focus on whatever you focus on in your life, whether it's something negative about your life or something really cool that you appreciate and you have gratitude and you care and you're so happy about, you will have the life that reflects on which one you focus on. So if you want to focus on the one thing that you have a regret about, the one thing that you don't like about your life, then your life's going to suck. But if you are able to look at the things that you have gratitude about, the things you're grateful for, the things that are positive, those will expand and grow around you in your life. And this is very true about how we should look at this team. Other teams, that's why they fall apart. They pull that one little string and the whole sweater comes unraveled. That is what I'm saying, y'all. So let's not chicken little. Let's not start some new stuff where, like, oh, Scotty's this, or Fred's this, or Pascal's this, or whoever's this, because sometimes those things grow and there's no reason to grow them right now. There really, really, really isn't. This was a preseason game. And if we're going to lose, we want to lose now and learn why we lost and learn from it so we're more ready for when it matters when we play the Cavs on that Wednesday. Now, that's what I'm going to say. Y'all think the starters are kind of right now? Well, let's see how the starters look in the first game that really matters. And then let's start judging them. I know that they're not looking sharp. I know that there's different things that they're doing that are just like, why can't they do this more? Or why are they having so much trouble with this? But we need to understand this is why we have preseason. Preseason is here to work out things before the season starts. And this is totally the function of it. So there's nothing wrong with this. We lost a game. So what? So what? All right, let's see what else. Naco the Nachos here might have been Koloko's best game so far. Koloko was weird. Like, he didn't play a whole lot. I thought since he was starting, he would play a whole lot, but he really didn't. He played near the beginning of the game, and then that was it. He really wasn't out there that long. And would you believe he only had 2 points in the game? He had that one little nice jump hook in the lane that looked really nice and stuff like that. But otherwise, the reason why we all like what he did is because he got 4 blocks in like the first 5 minutes of the game. He got 4 blocks really quick. He was very active on the boards. And, in the stat sheet, you don't see everything that Koloko did because he did a lot of like changing people's minds. He did a lot of like intimidation. He did a lot of like, I'm lurking. And you maybe need to think twice about trying to take a shot over near here. He was a pest. And he definitely was a factor. And we're seeing all kinds of interesting intangibles about him being on the court. That nice mix of really long, lengthy length with crazy long arms with that motor, that ability to move around the court really quickly and get up and down the court. Like, he's not slow in transition. He can run with everybody else. And he's really good at recovering in different ways, like around the basket. Like if a defender gets away from him, if a player gets away from him, he's defending, he can recover and get back to them really quick and guard them. And also, he's really good at adjusting his attention or focus to the next thing that he needs to do. Whether he's like trying to guard somebody, the shot goes up, well, he's turning around trying to get the rebound. There's a lot of good things we're seeing from Koloko. And yeah, it could be one of his better games. It's his best game for blocks, that's for sure. But I don't know. I thought he played better in the Boston game in some ways. But you know what? He was great. And he didn't look out of place as a starter. That's another big thing we needed to look at as far as him starting. What a cool lineup. For most of the game last night, we were positionless. And I don't want people to read into maybe positionless doesn't work because of what happened last night. A lot of people on Twitter are saying, oh, Vision 6'9" is no good. We need shooters like ASAP and stuff like that. But I think you guys are a little bit panicking too quick. That our shooters have not woken up and started playing yet this season. This is very true from our anemic 3-point shooting so far. You think Gary Trent Jr. is going to shoot like this the whole season? You think Fred VanVleet's not going to wake up and start bombing threes all over the place? You don't think these guys are going to play better? Like OG's going to hit more of his threes, that Pascal's going to be playing better and more aggressive? This is all going to happen. We're just starting the engine in the morning. It's a cold morning. The weather is cold and the engine needs to warm up. So you got to sit in the car for like 5-10 minutes in the morning and let it run before you start driving and pulling out and stuff like that. This is what we know up here in Canada. Well, it's the same damn thing for this team right now. We got to let the engine warm up in the driveway before we start driving and stuff like that. So let's not overreact, Raptors fans. And I know that you guys, the ones that come here and watch me every day, you're not that tight. But we know that we're going to see it in other places. And we're going to see dumbasses saying, oh, we suck. We're going to be horrible. We're not going to make the playoffs this year just because of this. These couple of preseason games. It's silly. Silly shit. Silly shit. Monique saying good morning to everyone. Good morning, Monique Lawrence. Always happy to have super fan Monique here with us. G saying Raptors have traveled 8,000 miles in 5 days due to Canada travel. They seem flat, so thinking that may have something to do with it as well. Yeah, this is a great point, G. In fact, when I saw our preseason schedule, I was like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Why are we traveling this way to this way through this time zone to this time zone? Now, in some ways, I really like how we go to Victoria and BC for our training camp because in some ways you get that jump in time. And because we're on East Coast time, when they get there on the West Coast, they get up earlier and get more work done. And it's something about like having that jet lag for the where you get earlier up, it kind of makes you go to work harder and kind of get a good start. And I understand why they do that. Well, jumping back time zones is tough. Like going to Edmonton first, okay. Understand that. Now, why the fuck do we have to go all the way to Boston and then double back to Houston? And now we're coming back to Toronto tomorrow. We're jumping time zones right now. And we went all the way west and we came all the way east. And now we went central. And now we're coming back to Eastern again for tomorrow. So it is a little bit of a janky kind of jerking around with your body and different things like that. And it could be that they're just getting used to being back on the road also. So I think G's point right here is very valid. That, you know, even Jack and Matt were commenting about this during the broadcast last night. The Raptors have had a very tough travel schedule already, just in preseason. You know, different teams are looking at the preseason in different ways. It used to be that you played like 8 preseason games every year. And people got complaining about there's too many games in the NBA season, 82 games, the postseason, 8 preseason games. So the NBA made a change to say, okay, you guys can have as many preseason games as you want. Some teams are only playing 3 preseason games. We're playing 5 preseason games. So that we're getting a little bit more work in, a little bit more travel in than other teams are doing to start the season and stuff like that. I like it. I want us to play as much as possible. We're the kind of team that wants to push and continue to work all the time. We're not lazy. We're not trying to ease into the season by only playing like 3 preseason games. We want to go. And we have guys with engines and motors that can run and run and run. They're young. So there's no reason for us not to have a lot of preseason games because they want the reps. They want a lot of time. But this may be part of the factor is that there's more travel in the preseason condensed into it. But that just makes us more hardened in some ways, the way I look at it and stuff like that. But gee, great point. And I do think this might have had something to do with it. There's something lackadaisical about the starters right now, the way that they're starting the game and stuff. In particular, Scottie just looked way out of sorts and just a little lethargic and not really like as Johnny on the spot, like in the moment, kind of like I'm doing this, this, this. I don't know. There's something that he's got to figure out to get back in his groove. And I know he will. I know he will. It's just like, who knows what it is? Who knows what's going on? But hopefully everything will be looking sharper and smoother. Now, tomorrow we're going to play Chicago here in Toronto. I'll be at the game, and as well as a lot of you, meet me at 420 out front where the star-crossed columns are. And yeah, we'll go in and hang out together and stuff like that. But yeah, tomorrow, hopefully we can bring some energy as fans, and hopefully we can pep this team up and make them look sharper. Now, I think that we might see even less of the starters tomorrow against the Bulls. This is the kind of game where they really test the bench and the end of the bench guys out more. I went to a preseason game against the Bulls in the Scotiabank Arena 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago. And it was very much that way. We barely saw any of the starters throughout the whole entire game. In fact, a lot of them didn't even play. So it could be that may be the kind of game we're getting tomorrow against the Bulls. So hopefully these guys get rest or something or whatever. It could be that they just rest one guy like they rested Fred. It could be that tomorrow they say we're resting Pascal for this game or something, or we're going to rest OG or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's a really good point, G. That's a lot of miles to cover very early, right away in the preseason. I mean, you know, we're in Edmonton, we're in Boston, we're all over the place. All right, let's keep going. All right, Nako is here. Nako's saying, I also think it's a good idea to see if we could get Gary into point guard-esque mode. Point guard-esque mode. I don't know. I think they're really sharing it by committee. When you look at the stats, and I don't want to harp on too much of it. Scottie had 6 turnovers. Scottie Barnes had 6 turnovers. He had 4 assists. Now, if he's going to start being our point guard, he needs to start looking at his assist to turnover ratio and stuff like that. That is really one of the most important things when you're a point guard is to look at how many turnovers you have versus how many assists. So he did not do well in that. And also, yeah, he's obviously frustrated. He missed all 5 of his shots, and he missed 4 free throws at the line again. Now, the free throw stuff was really bad last night. In fact, that's exactly what we lost by. 16 missed free throws. We lost by 16 points. Now, that's not totally the whole problem. We shot poorly in all 3 categories, whether it was field goal percentage, free throw percentage, or 3-point percentage. Really, really bad. Really, really bad. It's amazing how bad our 3-point shooting has. I don't understand it exactly right now. These guys should be good free 3-point shooters. Why are y'all missing so much? You took way more 3-pointers than the Houston Rockets last night, and you made way less than them. You took 34 3-pointers. They took 31. They made twice as many. They made 12 3-pointers, and the Raptors only made 6. And once again, they didn't hardly make any in the first half, and they made most of them later. In fact, 2 of them were by GABE BROWN at the very end of the game. So, get your 3-point shooting right, Raptors. This is something I don't know. Listen, they're going to do film sessions. They're going to do all kinds of stuff today, and they're going to do tomorrow in the morning before the game, and they're going to talk about all this. It's not a pleasant day for the Raptors. They are getting some work in the film room, and they're learning about things very much today, right now, probably right this moment in OVO Center. They're probably learning some stuff about what's been going wrong and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. I hope they are. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's see. Morning to Raymond Jacob, Raptor Freak Raymond Jacob. Always good to see your name here. G saying, for perspective, teams travel 40,000 miles during the season, and they did a quarter of that in 3 preseason games. Yeah, that's insane. That is crazy. These are long flights. This is a lot of travel for preseason. Gee, that really good factoids, really interesting stuff to say right here. You're right. We did like a quarter of the whole travel for the whole season already. What are we doing? We're crazy. Guardian Transit saying, I believe so far the team is not passing enough, opening up the floor. Scottie's not in beast mode, and the starters shooting is far from the Rico Breeze shooting we were seeing. Yeah, this is really good observations by Guardian Transit. Yeah, the passing's really bad. Let's look at the assist stat for last night. 18 assists to 22 assists by the Rockets. Honestly, they weren't really sharing the ball that much either. They were really going one-on-one in different ways too. But I'd like to get at least 20 assists a game. This is really bad. Like, this is not enough assists. They're not playing off of each other enough. And in some ways, like I said, y'all need to go back to the basics and just try and really go back to some really basic offensive structures that get easy shots for people, whether it's just a pick and roll, give and go, whatever, because this is bad. Like, it's bad as far as like the chemistry is not looking right. Considering y'all played all August together at Rico Hines, the chemistry is not looking synergized or connected. You guys don't look connected right as a team. As far as the sixth sense is like, I know Scottie's going to be at this place, or I know OG has this tendency, or I know that Pascal wants to get the ball right here. Where is that kind of intelligence on the court between our teammates? As far as like, this is what they prefer. This is what I'll set up my teammate for success on getting a basket through. You guys got to think more like this. And I don't know how they're going to do it, or the coach is going to talk to you guys, but I know you'll figure it out and you'll get it right. It's just that we got to figure this stuff out now. It's preseason. Get it figured out now before the games start to count, is what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. And yeah, Scottie is being a little more passive in the games. Like, he's not being as aggressive. You know, one of the things I think is happening is I see him complaining to the refs a lot. And I know this summer we talked about how the refs do have a bias against the Raptors, that they don't get any calls. And this was definitely in effect again last night. that, they were calling that Houston was very physical last night. It was amazing how physical they are. That's a little bit different than how they were the last couple of years. They were really kind of a finesse, athletic team, but they didn't really hit you much down around the basket. Well, this Fernando guy or whatever his name is that's shown up for their team, he has some muscle and size, and he was a little bit of a problem as the starting center for them. And then you bring in like this other guy, Garuba. They had a couple of big guys that came into the game, and they were absolutely very physical around the basket. And that's weird. We should be the bully team. We should be the physical team that's imposing our physicality on the other team. Well, they did a really good job messing us up with physicality, which is not normal for the Rockets. I don't normally see that kind of side to them. And that was a big factor in why they won the game yesterday. They had a physical side to them that was new. And I don't like that development with them. And especially with Jabari Smith was out, he's going to be part of that physical factor in the season when we see them again. So, yeah, we need to be the aggressor. We need to be the one that's putting the other team on their heels and hitting them first, because Houston kind of hit us first in a couple of different ways last night, and it really hurt. They need to get going like they were at Rico Hines for sure. Guardian Transit. I totally agree with that. Monique saying Koloko's very comfortable now. I wouldn't say he's very comfortable, but I'd say he fits in. He looks right. There's still a lot of stuff he could do better. He's really ahead, yeah, and he's surprising a lot of people, and everybody's like, wow, and stuff like that. And there is so much potential as far as the different things he could do offensively and just how good and how much of an impact he has on the defensive end. So, yeah, I wouldn't say he's totally comfortable yet. You can't say that because he's a rookie. He hasn't even played his first NBA real game and stuff like that. And he hasn't gotten a whole lot of run either. So we got to test his limits in different ways and stuff like that. Nameless saying, thanks, Lex. That's a great life advice. I appreciate that, Nameless. I'm a big, this is something that I've had to work on for myself. I've been a very miserable person at different times in my life. I was an alcoholic. I drank for 20 years, and I had a lot of problems with my personality and different things. So I had to do a lot of inward work on helping myself to be happier and to learn how to be wiser and happier. So all I'm doing is just giving stuff that I learned the hard way. And, is easy life skills that you can help yourself to be happier and stuff like that. So, Nameless, if I helped you today be a little bit happier, awesome. I've done something today. Then I've accomplished something. G saying Barnes plays better in the paint, playing bully ball, rebounding and putbacks. He can work on point guard skills, but in the meantime, he has such great instinct and reflex in the paint. Yeah, I don't think he's playing to his strengths in some ways right now. Like, I don't know what it is. He's just a little flat coming into the preseason right now. He really has struggled in the first 3 games as far as the level of play that he had last year is not the same right now in preseason. I think he played really well against Boston a little bit in that little bit of time, but he was not good last night. And he wasn't sharp against Utah. The Boston game was okay. But I don't know. I'm not worried about Scottie. It's the kind of thing where he's going to get frustrated and he's going to get upset. And hopefully, I don't know. This is something interesting to see with him since he's so young, to see how he reacts to adversity and stuff like that with his game. When things aren't going exactly the smoothest with his game, how does he react to it? And what happens? I want to see what happens. So hopefully it'll be positive where he gets gumption to be like, all right, I'm fucking sick of this shit. I'm going to get myself back on track any way I can. And, it may be defense and rebounding gets him back on track. It may be doing something like what you're saying, being more concentrating on low post bully ball kind of stuff around the basket, because he has had his most success so far this preseason around the basket with turnarounds and short shots and stuff like that. I still want these guys to shoot more threes and just make them. Scottie, you were looking so good with your threes all summer. You got to do it again now, but in the game. Same with Pascal. I can say this to both you guys because both of you guys were dead eyes this summer in threes. And you really are a big part of our improvement in shooting this year is because you guys individually improved as shooters this summer. So start to show the merits and fruits of such hard work y'all put in this summer, because I know y'all worked so hard this summer. I could tell. I seen the clips and different things like that. I can tell Scottie was working hard, even though he's playing video games too. We know he was there every day working hard. So we know the fruits of his labor will show up on the court at some point. It's just there's some adversity, and this may be a good time for it to happen. Once again, it's preseason. Doesn't matter. It's like having a safety net. Get that stuff out of the way and figure out how you deal with adversity right now, Scottie. I want to see you shine and overcome it right away, starting tomorrow with Chicago. Yeah, let's see. Nameless saying, plus we want to lose to Houston, not Boston. This is another great point. Nameless is funny. Like I'm really enjoying Nameless being here as a regular these days because Nameless is kind of a mischief maker in some ways. I've seen how Nameless talks in other chats, and so it's very funny, dry sense of humor that's very funny. And this is exactly right. I was actually thinking about this last night. Exactly. I was like, well, I'm glad we beat Houston. I mean, I'm glad we beat Boston, but if we're going to lose, we're going to lose to Houston. And it could be that we lose to Houston in the preseason and we kick their ass both the games we play against them in the regular season. So I'd much rather get a loss to Houston out of the way right now, because it kind of smacked of also some of those games last season where we play like Orlando or Detroit and we're supposed to win and we get our ass beat in a game by a team that we shouldn't have lost to. That is very much what happened last night. Nako's saying people say Koloko doesn't have a good enough offensive bag, but I don't think it's that important given his role. Yeah, I agree with you, Nako. And the other thing is, like, the offense is all gravy and awesome on top of things like that. Everything he does otherwise is enough and is amazing. But the thing is, he's going to be a good offensive player. Like, give him 2 or 3 years in this league, and we're going to see him be able to be like a 10-point scorer, a 10 to 15-point scorer per game. And it's really going to be because he gets a lot of putbacks. He has really easy time getting shots. Like, if we're having a hard time getting into our offense, Nick, why don't you start setting up Koloko with some low post moves? Because that man can shoot over anybody, except for maybe Victor when he shows up next year. But yeah, he's got that kind of point of release like Victor does. It's way above everybody else. And that's kind of an overpowering weapon that if we can figure it out and get him consistent, he could get us easy baskets. I'd like to see a game start if he's going to be a starter for us, where we look for him in the low post right away and establish some dominance near the basket with him. This is a classic way to open a game for a basketball team. Get your big man in the low post and get him an easy basket right near the basket. So yeah, I'm excited about his offensive potential. In fact, that to me is much more intriguing in some ways, because I knew the defensive stuff is just going to happen and it's going to be really good, and that's easier in some ways. But the offensive stuff really has a crazy potential. But that's not something anybody should expect from him, at least consistently, for at least a year or 2 or 3 years in his career and stuff like that. So Shane Waters is here. Happy Saturday, friends. Happy Saturday, Shane. There were enough bricks laid last night to build a tiny house. We're good, though. Yeah, there were a lot of bricks. It just looked ugly. It was very, very ugly. They're just off. I don't know what it is. There was weird crowd there. There was some good Raptor faithful there. In fact, in the first half, if you notice, every time the Rockets were shooting free throws, there were some children there yelling very loud. So we had some good young Raptors freaks in the arena last night yelling at the Rockets when they were shooting free throws, and it was working. They were missing a lot of free throws early, and I'd like to think it was those young children screaming at them. I thought it was very, very good to hear those fans. And we did have some Raptor fans mixed with in the building, but it was a very empty building also and stuff like that. And man, if we could just have made our free throws, maybe it would have been better. Really, really horrible free throw shooting. And in fact, Jeff Dowtin, man, what the fuck is wrong with you with the free throw line? Like, this doesn't make any sense in like basketball logic. You're so measured and good with your jump shot in the regular game. Why can't you get measured and make your free throws? This is really bad. You've missed 4 free throws out of like 5 in the last 2 games. And you said after the Boston game, you're going to work on your free throws. Well, you came out and you shot really bad at the free throw line last night. Once again, Jeff Dowtin, 1 for 3. One for 4. So you missed 3 of your 4 free throws last night, Jeff. What are you doing? In fact, these guys that we like looked at as the heroes in the Boston game, they all looked kind of last night. Like Josh Jackson missed every single shot he took. The one, all right, if we're doing a end of the bench battle, check. I'm saying DJ Wilson's ahead at this point because he had the most solid game in this kind of game last night. I mean, DJ had 5 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound, 1 steal, but he did have a 3-pointer and he made both of his free throws. He did miss 2 other shots, but still, he was a -5. A lot of these guys were all minuses. In fact, the only pluses on our team were Thad Young, Chris Boucher, Precious Achua, and Dalano Banton. And in fact, let's just do the 3 stars right now. The 3 stars for the night in my book in the loss, Dalano Banton, #1 star, 6 for 8 from the field. He came in the game and brought that burst once again, really aggressive, getting the basket, 14 points. He really was a leader in some ways in this game and just kind of keeping us in it in some ways, Dalano Banton. So really proud of Toronto's own Mr. 45 Bus coming out there and continuing his really strong summer. And like, he's just been strong, honestly, since G League. Like last year, he played and really was strong throughout the second half of the G League season last year. And then he goes right into Summer League. Very, very good. Maricup, very, very good. Rico Hines, very, very good. Preseason, very, very good. Dalano is just on a roll. And this man is literally making steps in his career going up, like right now in front of us. So really proud of Dalano as my first star from last night, shooting 6 for 8, 14 points. He did miss 3 free throws. And that's not even a perfect game to me just because of that. Like, he was our best player, but he was really like, this would be like a great contribution from a bench player and a good win. But this is our best player in this game. So that's really bad. Precious is our second star from last night. He was 4 for 8, which isn't a bad. He missed both his free pointers, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 10 points. He was a +6. He was our highest plus. He just played solid, but that, like, once again, that's not a really crazy, incredible stat line for like who the stars should be in the game and stuff like that. It's very underwhelming and stuff like that. But at least Precious looked pretty good at different times. And then Chris is our third star, 4 for 7. He hit one of that 1-3 in the corner. He missed a free throw, but whatever. 4 rebounds, a steal, a block, 10 points, and a +3. So yeah, underwhelming 3 stars. Dalano, sure, he was fantastic. Precious and Chris were They were not super great, but I couldn't pick anybody else because they all pretty much sucked otherwise. So I hate to be harsh, but that's kind of what it is right there. A lot of bricks. Yeah. I don't like building houses. We're not in the housing business. We shouldn't be building houses. That's what I'm saying right there. Monica's saying, Gabe Brown, man, oh man, his shot's so beautiful, making a last minute case. Free throws a must. Yeah, Gabe Brown is a dead eye. Like, he really is. Downtown Brown, as they called him last night in the game. I like that corner 3. I like that top of the key 3. He hits them from all around. Listen, like, if we're looking for needs and what we need, and this was like the one guy who was giving us water when we're all thirsty, yeah, this guy may need to be changed and considered for our regular roster. I don't know, but it's really nice to see a player that can shoot like that, a young player that just showed up that's in our system. So we'll have to see where his place ends up. It may be that we really do need him on the main roster because nobody can hit a 3. So Gabe Brown, you're doing great, man. In fact, you have probably looked, if we're really looking at the end of the bench, guys, I guess I should say Gabe Brown's actually better than DJ Wilson last night. Definitely. Gabe Brown was the best one. DJ Wilson was second. Hernan Gomez came in, hit 1-3, but really didn't a whole lot. He was only in for 5 minutes. Josh Jackson and Jeff Dowtin really didn't look good in their little bit of time. And Ron Harper, ineffective in 4 minutes, didn't really do anything himself. So it is what it is, and stuff like that. This may be the one game where Justin Champagny sitting out actually may have made him look good. So I don't know. All right, let's keep going. All right, Nameless is saying they're making up for our amazing regular schedule season with a wonky preseason one. That's right. I remember when the schedule came out, they said that we have one of the easiest schedules out of all the teams in the league in some ways. So, yeah, all right, maybe that's true, Nameless. That could be true. Let's see. G saying at least their schedule's good. Yeah. Tom Duke saying at Mo, can we get a countdown to the real season, please? That's why Tom wants to see you, Monique, counting down the days to the real season. You counted down to the preseason. He wants the countdown to the real thing, baby. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go. 10 days, Dukester. That's what Nameless is telling you. And Nameless is saying Scottie is having fun this preseason, learning to play point guard. I don't think Scottie's having fun this preseason. I don't think that's a good way to describe it. I can see his face and the way he's reacting to things like that. He's not happy with how he's playing. He really wants to look good and play well and stuff like that. And he's not playing well. He knows that, and that's frustrating for him. So I don't think he's having a good time. I think that he's trying the new stuff, and maybe it's just that they've scouted him and they scouted, okay, he likes to do no-look passes. Well, they're not falling for them at this point. He's not tricking anybody with this no looks. So he's going to have to figure it out, go back to the drawing board, and maybe like focus on doing other skills and different things around the court to get him back in the groove. The best way to do this is always to focus on your defense and your rebounding and just really build from there. The shots will come to you. When you get that open shot, use your fundamentals and square up and shoot right and make the shot. But, also have a short memory if you're not still making it, because that's what Fred has to do. Fred can miss 7 3-pointers throughout the game and then hit a huge clutch one at the end, the first one he hits all game, because he never gave up and he just had a short memory and he kept shooting. So, Scottie, you got to have a short memory and don't get caught up in the fairness with the refs. I know that's part of it. You are turning to the refs, you're hitting your arm, you're yelling at the refs, you're jawing at the refs because you want them to help and give you calls. They're not going to do that for us. In fact, they really were very biased towards Houston last night. They let Houston beat us up and be very physical with us, where they were calling touch fouls on us. And Jack and Matt were saying, yeah, it's Friday night. We want to go out. Why are you calling so many fouls? Because they were real quick on the whistle. And that was part of the reason why we didn't win also. They did that little thing where they let one team play aggressive and physical, and then the other team gets called for every little ticky-tack thing. And Scottie may be thinking about the fairness in his head. We can't do that, Scottie. It's very similar to what we were saying about Precious yesterday, that you got to move on. If you don't get the call, you don't get back on defense, they're scoring a basket. So you got to stay in the moment and let it go. Just let it go. You can ask Fred. You can ask Pascal. You can ask OG. These guys have had to let go of so much bullshit with the refereeing and just keep playing. That's the way we got to do it. So let it go for right now and stay in the game and just keep going for the next moment, the right thing in the next moment. Because I know you're getting in your head as far as with the refs and the calls. And you can't do that, Scottie. You got to change that and just ignore them. You'll get your calls. You'll get your due. But right now you got to break through and do some stuff on the court, and then you'll get the respect from them and stuff like that. So, yeah. Let's see. G saying OG and Gary will not both shoot 0% from 3 again, I feel. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's like, I don't know what it is, why these guys are shooting so poorly from the 3-point range and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense. It really, really doesn't. There should be at least one of them hitting their shots, but it is what it is. Well, they're going to figure it out. Evelyn's saying, good morning. Oh, I love Monique's play-by-play analysis via Facebook about last night's game. Kudos to you, Monique. Yes, Evelyn being friends with Monique on Facebook. Now she sees what I've been enjoying for years, Evelyn, is Monique's late night breakdown of the game, her points of interest and what she saw in the game, and her observations have always been so astute and illuminating for me. And I try not to look at them and come in here and just echo them. I try to be my own voice, but a lot of times we're saying the same thing because great minds think alike. And I'm so glad that Evelyn's enjoying that stuff too. And we all appreciate it, Monique, what you're doing and stuff. So you keep on keeping on. You're always such a great basketball head in what you're saying and stuff like that. You always say stuff that I don't always see, and I like that. All right, let's see. Gabe G saying, I think Gabe Brown is a keeper. We need snipers that are not afraid to shoot in the moment, and Tom Duke agrees with this. Yeah, I think that Gabe Brown has got a very nice shot, and it's like automatic. Like he is very much a slingshot, like it'll go right in. And it's a weird arc, and it's not fundamentally totally right. Like it's a line drive, as they described it last night. It's a line drive. But yeah, it's looking like it's a very useful tool and very consistent tool. that we may need this year. And that may make him on the roster, the main roster, because of this skill. Is that we're not getting it from anybody else. Well, Gabe, you might get a spot on the main roster just because you're a capable shooter. And we need that. Oh my gosh, Callie's here. Callie, we're so happy to see you. I know it's been a little bit, and it is what it is. And maybe you've been watching us at different times and stuff like that, but we missed you, Callie. So happy to see Raptor Freak Callie here. Hey, everyone. Happy to be back and excited for the new season. Hope the guys spend some time practicing their free throws and three-point shooting. Oh my gosh, for sure, Callie. Yeah, they've been looking real rough in both those areas, especially last night, stuff like that. We don't want your stress meter too high this season. Raptors, get it together. Play like solid. Play with each other and get those shots easier by playing off of each other and stuff like that. And then Callie and my stress meter and all the other Raptor Freak stress meter will be nice and low in games this season. So happy to see Callie back. And yes, we'll be here every day, just like last year, Callie. And I appreciate your contributions and you being back from the summer. Awesome. So happy to see you. G saying, I noticed in the Rico runs, it was a mix of the starters and bench together. For instance, Pascal, Fred with Koloko and Gabe, and etc. Yeah. You know, it's really weird and interesting that Koloko was the guy that he put in the starting lineup last night. He could have easily put Precious in the starting lineup instead of him. He could have put Chris, but he picked Koloko. And this really is kind of like leaning more towards kind of like what Jubstown Clink's been saying about starting Koloko for specialty reasons like the jump ball and stuff like that. This is very interesting. I'm going to think that what the coaches saw about Koloko starting last night was attractive and that they're going to want to explore more of having him in the starting lineup in the near future and stuff like that. I don't know. It was weird. They still didn't look that good. Like I was wondering, I was like, man, now the starters could look really interesting with a little bit of a mix up in the lineup. Hopefully they're not as flat. Well, they were still pretty flat and they were still not totally working well. But that wasn't totally Koloko. Koloko as an individual looked really active and sharp and doing really well. Out of the 5 starters, in some ways, he was the one that looked the most capable and was doing the most to help them like win and do good things on the court in some ways. I know Pascal had some good scoring in the game last night. He was 18 points, 7 of 15. He was 1 for 6 from the three-point range. He needs to shoot better. 3 for 8 at the free throw line. Once again, very uncharacteristic free throw misses. We've seen Pascal be 9 for 9 at the free throw line, 10 for 10 in games last year. Why are you missing 5 free throws, Pascal? This smacks of concentration and just not taking the game serious enough last night. 6 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block. I'll get behind that. Pascal had a solid game, and I could have easily made him one of the stars, but he's the kind of player that I expect more from than just 18 points and shooting that not that well. He can do better, and that's why I didn't give him a star in this game. But he was solid. He was solid in some ways, and he was kind of the only one that was carrying water for us early as far as being able to put points in the basket and stuff like that. So I'm not that down on Pascal, but he could do better. He could have shot better last night for sure. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Mixing and matching the bench and the starting lineup is actually cool. Like we saw a lot of that in the middle of the game last night. We saw Scottie out there with some of the bench guys mixed in with them. You know, you've seen OG mixed in with the bench guys. It was kind of cool to see Jeff Dowtin out there playing with some of the starters early in the second half and stuff like that. So I see what you're saying. And that really is kind of trying all the different permutations of the combinations to really see which units really seem to have some good, like natural chemistry and stuff like that. So I would like to see them mix and match the starters with the bench more also, G, like they did at Rico Hines. Although they did kind of strictly do just like starters and 5, and they did kind of have them tiered, but Koloko would be with the starters or Dalano would be with the starters one day or something like that. Kareem Thomas is here. We just had to crown Scottie a superstar without him growing into that role. Now we see him struggling to live up to that status. That is part of it. That is part of it. And like I said, this is adversity. This is really kind of the first like stumbling block, but it's not even that important. This is the practice time. This is the early time. This is the preseason time. But I agree, Kareem. Like this is why you don't want to put such burden of responsibility and expectations on a young player, is that when they have like kind of a rough patch, then it's kind of like everybody starts dumping on them and stuff like that. There's a lot of people. It's really sad and awful to see how many people on Twitter have turned on Scottie just for this one game last night, a game that doesn't even matter. Game that doesn't even matter. And he's changing his role. He's trying to modify his role on the court and try new things. There may not be an instant success. There was a little bit of failure last night. And we have to allow for this. It really is the kind of thing, like I talked about this before last season, that our relationship with this team is kind of like a relationship with somebody you love, a partner that you have in your life. And that, when things go wrong at their work, do you like shit all over them when they come home? No, you're supposed to be there to love and support them and tell them you get them next time. Like if you're married to someone or something like that, and they come home and they're like telling you, yeah, I did horrible today. I messed up the presentation and we lost the account and all this stuff. The husband, you're gonna say, you're a piece of shit. You're horrible salesman. You need to be off the team and stuff like that. Is that how you're gonna treat your partner? That when they come home and have a failure at work, that's how we need to look at this team. We can't dump all over them like this. It's not healthy. It's toxic. So that's what I'm saying. Support them even when they fail, because this is the truth of the world. There's success and failure. You're not 100% successful all the time. So our dudes are going to fall. They're going to falter. They're going to have some failure at times. And it is really, how do you pick yourself up and go from there? But it's also, let's be supportive and understanding and realize this is just the reality of the world. There is a percentage of success and failure mixed together. And think about how you treat the team, how you would treat your spouse or somebody you care about and love. And don't treat them like abusively, because some of it is very abusive. It's like, oh, you think just because Scottie was 0 for 5 last night that you can just talk shit to him like on social media? It's like, oh, he's a piece of garbage. I hate him, all this stuff. Why do you want to be like that? Are you anywhere near what he's doing in his life and what no. So it's like, who the fuck are you to come down and come at him like this today for one game, a preseason game at that? So yeah, I see it all over the place. And this is where Raptor freaks, positive Raptor fans can fight the good fight, be a voice of reason, just like I just said, and say, look, get some perspective on this, y'all. You guys are crazy. You are so reactive to just the littlest things, Raptors Nation. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, are you micromanaging everyone in your life like you're micromanaging Scottie Barnes? Like, I would hate to know you in real life if you're actually acting like this towards everyone with your expectations and judgments of being perfect and stuff like that. So this is going to be a real good learning lesson and test for him. And I know he's going to be fine because he's gone through these tests before at different levels of adversity and not playing well. Obviously, Scottie's had periods of time where he hasn't played well, and he's come out of them. So we're going to see how he does it and stuff. But it really is the expectations we put on him. I know, and I'm guilty of it, Kareem. I'm going around saying Scottie's going to be one of the greatest ever and stuff like that. And it builds up other people thinking, well, what if he's the greatest? Why does he have so many turnovers from last night? Stuff like that. Well, that's what I'm saying. You guys need to allow for failure. There's going to be some failure from time to time. As long as the percentage of failure is much less than the percentage of success, we'll be fine and stuff like that. So G saying, it's been bugging me, but when OG and Pascal are on together, something seems off. It's almost like both are overthinkers. Can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's something else and I'm overanalyzing. Well, we're definitely all going to be a little bit overanalyzing. It may be very simple things. Like, it'd be so cool to be a fly on the wall at the practice session, the film session this morning at OVO, and what they're saying and telling these guys they need to adjust and change. We may be shocked that it's something completely different than we would think they need to do differently. And that maybe that our genius coaches are just saying, yeah, guys, you need to do this and this and this. We're going to try this. And you know what? We're sorry. We put you all in a position to fail because we didn't set you up with this and this. And we're going to change this and this. And you guys got to do better in this category. They can really, really get that detailed and specific. And I know it'd be very, very, like I said, it'd be very interesting to be a fly on the wall in there and hearing exactly what's being said about how they need to adjust from the loss last night and stuff like that. So we're all overanalyzing it. We don't know exactly what actually really matters. That's the other thing. Some people are going to be like, well, obviously missing the free throws mattered and shooting better at 3-pointers mattered. and stuff like that. We also got out rebounded last night. That mattered. Getting out rebounded, that shouldn't have happened against the Rockets. I'm sorry. With our personnel against them, we should not have been out rebounded. That is really important. G saying Dalano is going to be amazing. His lean body is actually a benefit. His speed and body condition is unique. I agree with this. He really is kind of like a greyhound. Like, if you took him dog to dog park, he would be a greyhound at the dog park. Just really sleek and fast and long. And the great thing is that he's consistently showing that he can make buckets, that he can go get them and manufacture them against different opponents. He's done this every single game so far. He did this at MEETUP. So I'm really, really happy about Dalano. And that may be what we need to do. Forget about Scottie right now. We just got to work through some things and figure out, get back on track. Let's celebrate Dalano and say, wow, look at how great our kid from Toronto, from Rexdale, is blossoming and taking extra levels going up. That's what I'm saying. It's where you put your focus. You want to put focus on Scottie? His turnovers is over 5? Go ahead, you negative ninnies. That's not what we're doing here. We're looking and celebrating the positives. And Dalano Bant is a huge positive right now. So let's focus on him. Let's give him the shine and talk about, wow, I'm so happy Dalano is developing into this as a second round pick that we got and stuff like that. I think he's very unique also, G. I think that's a good word for him. G's also saying, I really want to see Justin play. I'm hearing his three-point shot is good. Also, Otto will be a huge help in our shooting woes. Yes. It's like Bonnie Tyler. We need a hero. I'm holding out for Otto Porter when he comes back in his threes. He's got to be quick. He's got to be long. And he's got to hit many of these. We need a hero. Yeah, Otto Porter can show up and help with this void, this problem with the three-point shooting very quickly. So, yeah, there's a couple of different things that can help us out with this stuff. Like, Justin, hey, I'd love to see it. Show up, Justin. Start bombing threes. Please do something, Justin. I don't want to see you just get cut from the team because you've been hurt. So please show up and do something. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's see. Monique saying, Dalano, point guard, backup point guard, said it during the offseason. Thanks, Nate Mitchell. Well, it's a different look and stuff like that. In some ways, Dalano doesn't have to play point guard. Dalano played shooting guard at Summer League. He really was like our score, like slasher. He was playing more 2 or 3 when we played in Vegas at Summer League. It was Jeff Dowtin was running point guard with Dalano at shooting guard. So he's versatile like that. Like, we could have him out there with Malachi. Malachi could be the backup point guard, and Delano's playing off the ball, and he just catches it, and he does his little move, and he gets the basket somehow and stuff like that. So he's a little bit more versatile than that. And I don't know if I'd say he's just straight up our backup point guard. I think that he's more like he's a useful role player off the bench in different ways. Sure, the point guard stuff is a role he can fill. But I think that he's a lot more than just a point guard. And, the way he's scoring right now, between his shot looking better and the way he's getting to the rim consistently, that kind of portends that he may be more like a 2 or a 3 with some point guard skills in him and stuff like that, because he's got the height to play those other positions. All right. I love that. That's a really interesting comment by Monique there. I really like that. All right, I jumped a little bit. Let me get back to where I was. Okay, that's where we were right there. Okay, G saying, I hate to say it, but Barnes may need to get off Twitch for a bit. Like Fred and Pascal turn off the noise. I can't imagine comments don't get to him after a while. Well, he hasn't been on Twitch. It'll be 2 or 3 weeks tomorrow. He was on the Sunday before preseason started, and that's the last time he went on. He said he wouldn't be on till October again. I'm going to tell you this right now. If he's not playing well, I don't think he will be on Twitch, because he knows he'll be opening him up himself to that. So I don't expect him to be on Twitch until he arises again. And he's actually, everybody's like falling in love and like, oh, Scottie's so great again. So this isn't an issue right now. Now, I was actually thinking about what you're saying, though, as a whole for the whole summer and stuff like that. But I don't want to get into this. It's his time. He should spend his free time the way he wants to. And know that he's not slacking or lazy as far as working out. and stuff like that. He was doing it every single day and working hard and going twice a day most days and stuff like that. So it's not Twitch right now, but I did think about this for a moment last night where I was like, man, I hope all the Twitch he did this summer didn't really actually kind of hurt him in some ways. But we can't blame that or say that at this point. He's going to pull this plane out of like crashing real soon. We're going to see, it could be very soon. He may be as motivated as hell now to be like, oh my gosh, I had one of my worst games ever in an NBA uniform on Friday night. I want to change the taste in my mouth and stuff like that. So, but he's not on Twitch. He's nowhere near Twitch right now. And if he's going to see any comments, it would be on Twitter or it would be on Instagram or stuff like that. But it won't be happening where he's playing video games because he's not going to play them unless he's doing good. I'll bet you money he won't get on there if we're slumping, we're losing as a team, or he's not playing well himself. Nameless saying, Monique is awesome. I appreciate her so much. And Tom appreciates her too. This is Share Love Club. Monique Lawrence, unofficially. Share the Love Club. Monique Lawrence. We love you, Monique. And I'm hoping I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to be at the arena real early. Hope you can get that ride there. Get them to get you there around 4:30, right on the dot. And we can meet up in the arena. Yeah, Monique. Let's hang out and we'll have a meet and greet just like we did in August. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Good to see Raptor Freak. Cool Cat on a Saturday morning. Our guys look to be experimenting a lot. I'm not worried as yet. Our guys are winded, getting in game shape. Scottie is getting practice at managing the floor. Yeah, it is very experimental. Experimental putting Koloko in the starting lineup. Experimental with having Scottie really kind of be the point guard right from the start of the game. Well, the experiment didn't go as well last night. But that is a big factor in this. Cool Cat is right. They're trying new things, and they're not totally comfortable with all the things, especially the starting unit. It could be that they're really trying new offensive stuff, and it's not working exactly right. It's not totally smooth. It may be that they're not totally used to it or comfortable with it. There's a lot of different underlying things that could be happening with the starters that will be reasoning for why they're having such a struggle right now. And I think Cool Cat's hitting it with that note right there, that they're experimenting with different little things and that they're not totally like confident or comfortable doing those things yet, stuff like that. So, she's not worried. I'm not worried. It's like, let's see what happens against Cleveland on that Wednesday. Then we'll react in a real way because that's a game that really mattered and counted and stuff like that. So we're still 2-1 in the preseason. In fact, we should have lost the game on Wednesday and we won that game. So it's like we've had a very successful preseason, even though we lost the Rockets. We threw them a bone. They're feeling real good. They have that young nucleus, and they're feeling real good. I mean, they had John Lucas was coaching. He's a good coach. And Lionel Hollins, they weren't slouch coaches, and they're running that team pretty well. And they did a good job. They had a really good game plan for them to really utilize the strengths of their young team. Very young team. Very, very young team. G saying, Kareem, good point. Players like Kawhi and Giannis were 15 pick with no pressure. Joker was a pick 41. They were able to grow under the radar. Yeah, Scottie is getting a lot of shine, and he does have some expectation, but he's not afraid of that. He can take that. He's had expectation his whole life as a basketball player. That in his high school years, there was the same kind of pressure and expectation. His year at FSU, same kind of stuff to make the draft. And now he's in the NBA. It's just the next level of pressure that he's got to overcome and show that he belongs and that he will excel and be as good of a player as he can be. Because that really is the statement that he says. We can say, oh, he's going to be like LeBron level. Oh, he's going to be like a Giannis. He's going to be. That's kind of unfair. What we need to say is he's going to be the best possible version of Scottie Barnes that he can be. And that's what all these players say when they come to training camp. That's what Josh Jackson said after the game. He said, I'm just going to do my best and be absolutely the best person I can be, put it all on the court. And then if I get cut, I know in my heart, I at least did everything I could to make the team. Well, it's the same damn thing for Scottie. Scottie's going to be the best version of Scottie that he can be himself, not comparing him to everybody else. And then we got to allow him to do that and allow him for success and failure. That's just the healthy, right way to deal with it. And this is true. He's a high draft pick, so there is a bit more pressure. He can ask Josh Jackson. He can turn around and say, hey, Josh, how did it feel being the 4th pick 4 years ago and things not really working out? Yeah, he doesn't want to go that route. So he's going to stop, and he's all set up to succeed and get around it. Top of Top's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak. Top of Top. Good morning, Alexi. I will repeat. Wancho equals Fee 2.0. It was a movie, y'all, not reality. Wake up. Cut him and Harper, Dowtin, Jackson, and Brown should make the team. All right. All right. There's a strong opinion. Well, I think, like, once again, like, much like they have Boban on the other team, the way they were cheering for Boban, wanting to get him in, he just showed up. They don't even know Boban really because he was on Dallas or like with I don't even know what team he was on. He just got traded from to come here. He's been traded around so much. Now he's in Houston, and the Houston fans are already like, we need to get that Boban victory cigar going because they want to see him doing that. They're chanting MVP for the guy and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Even if he's just like a Boban on our team, that, you know, he's good for culture. He's good for all kinds of different things and stuff like that. Like, and it'll be a little different. Now, Svi had a good game last night for the Knicks in preseason. He actually hit his shot last night and looked real good. And Knicks fans are in love with him all of a sudden. They're all like, woo, Svi, and stuff like that. Now, this is the thing. That's a messy cut. That's a really messy cut. Now, you know, I don't know how they're going to do it and what they're going to do and stuff like that. But we have you on record that you do not believe in Juancho Hernangomez this season. And we'll just have to see if you're right as the season goes on and stuff like that. But I'm going to remember Top of Top that you were saying this about Juancho and stuff like that. But we'll have to see how it goes. You know, I can't argue with Dowtin. Dowtin's definitely a keeper to be on this team. And Brown, too. Jackson, I'm not totally sold on. Like, this is the pattern with him. He can be really, really good on a game against Boston and then absolutely shite last night. Like, he was really bad last night. I mean, Jackson was 0 for 4. He missed all 3 of his threes. You know, he had 2 assists, 2 rebounds, a steal, and a block. He played 12 minutes. You know, he could have been way better. He just didn't have it last night and stuff like that. So, G's saying, why do fans turn on players? Shaking my head. It's so frustrating to watch. How does that help the player? I know. And this seriously is maybe one of the top 3 reasons why I started this channel, is because I wanted to give the players some good positive energy from real fans that actually are supporting them and love them and will accept them in their losses and their wins and their failures and successes. It's just, I don't know. Some people have no room for error. Some people want to have to feel some control in their life, and they feel like if they can belittle millionaires for not performing in their job because it's so public, they get a little feeling better about themselves. I don't know. It's cheap bullshit. And it's kind of annoying. It is very annoying. It's frustrating. And it's been frustrating all along. I mean, you can imagine how I was when nobody was really like positive about the Raptors in some ways. And I was just kind of like, man, y'all are like talking shit about these guys and they're playing their hearts out for us. And it makes you wonder why it took so long for us to get loyal players that want to play for here. Is because our fans were kind of assholes at different times when they'd fail. And then, you know, you could have a player like Tracy McGrady when he came here as a young player, and like he goes through certain things, and then he hears it from the fans who are super critical of him. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go to Florida. You know, it's that kind of stuff that I don't like about it. You want to have good players here. Treat your players with respect and kindness and love them, and they'll stay. And you fans that are so quick to turn and on them and talk shit about them, fuck you today is what I'll say. Fuck you. And I'll even go in on social media. I'm going to find like the first 5 people that I see that are being negative about the Raptors today. And I'm just going to say, fuck you in the comments. Fight that good fight, Raptor Freak cult. Stay positive and don't let these negative ninnies, these chicken littlers, these people that are talking about, oh, the Raptors are shit. They're pretenders. They're nobody. We know the truth. This is just the preseason. Come on. Get it together, y'all. Keep perspective. You know, all right, Top saying Kareem made a good point about crowning Scottie. He'll be a great player, though. You know, it's going to work out the way it's supposed to. He's going to be who he's supposed to be. I still have very much big belief in him that he is going to be very special and be very much one of these important players in the league. It's just that, yeah, maybe we're premature in crowning people, but everybody's doing that in different ways. They prematurely crowned Kate Cunningham with this, Evan Mobley with this. It just comes with the territory. It's like fans get excited and they want to believe that this person could end up being like this other person that's already ahead of them, like Giannis. And that does put some pressure. That's why the comparisons aren't always fair. They aren't always fair because the player is very uniquely themselves as an individual. and stuff like that. We can't expect Scottie to be perfect like Magic Johnson with no look passes and stuff like that. Magic had mess ups too. I'm sure Magic had a game that looked very much like this one that Scottie had last night in a preseason game way back that nobody remembers or anything like that. It's just that this is what happened yesterday, and everybody's going to remember it because it's fresh in their minds. But this will be forgotten. And like maybe like next week, this will be forgotten because other things will happen on the court that are much more important because they're more recent and more in your head at this time. So it's just the late, what have you done for me lately, Janet Jackson? I keep saying that. That's like a thing I'm going to keep saying. What have you done for me lately, Janet Jackson? But I think it's true. We need to lay off the pressure on Scottie. Let Scottie be who he's going to be. Cool Cat saying Delano's FIBA experience showing up. I'm glad I don't have to choose our bench players. It's so competitive. Yeah, it is. It really is. I love Gabe Brown right now. Jeff Dowtin is still huge on my books. And once again, I'm swinging back towards DJ Wilson. If Josh Jackson had shown a consistency in all these games, like last night, he dropped the ball to me because we've seen something that he did on Wednesday. He should have been able to duplicate that last night in smart ways against more inexperienced players on Houston. And he wasn't able to do that. So it shows me that he may be inconsistent. We want that consistency like Jeff Dowtin's consistent. Not consistent on the free throw line, but he's consistent in a lot of different ways on the court. And that's going to be the big thing. It's like, yeah, it's going to be very competitive near the end here. And Champagne's got to get in there and get some time for me to feel good if he's going to take one of these spots. I want to see him in at least one preseason game play well. And then I'll be like, okay, yeah, he should be on the team. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, we need to cut him automatically just because he hasn't been available and stuff like that. That's how I really feel about it. Let's see. G saying Scottie will be amazing. He has more pressure than any rookie right now, though he just needs to play the game and not worry about anything else. Yes, he needs to do his yoga, meditate, Scottie, clear your mind of everything, and just remember what you're there for. You're there for the passion of this game. I know you love basketball in a way that's different than a lot of people. Like even in the NBA, you have a different kind of passion and love for the sport of basketball. Remember what that joy and love for basketball is in your heart and go in that direction, Scottie, and you will never fail. You just have to remember why you love this game and enjoy it again. It may be that you weren't enjoying yourself, that you're too caught up in being perfect. You're too caught up in the refs and the stupid shit that they're doing and stuff like that. We have to be that much better because they're not going to help us. And they're going to piss you off and frustrate you. They are going to do this. This is just a given. And that's why you have to be that much better. You can ask Pascal. He can tell you in his career how it's gone and how things are. And it's just how it is. It's just how it is. You're not going to get this. You may, because you get more respect from the NBA establishment as a golden boy, you may get the calls eventually, but there's no guarantee. You may have to play with not getting calls like you should be getting for a few years. And it's unfortunately, that's just how it is. And it may not just be because you're on Toronto. It's just because the refs are like that. They make young players learn and get the respect over time. And then they get calls, vet calls and superstar calls and stuff like that. But let it come to you, Scottie. It will come to you. You just go towards your passion for the sport and the fun of you playing, and everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Yeah, Nameless is saying people obviously there is going to be growing pains for Scottie when he's adapting to a new role and assuming more responsibility. Yes, that's exactly right. Growing pains. That is what we saw with him. Evelyn's saying, yeah, I agree with you 100%, Lex. Win or lose, with them, you have to support and respect and love them. Well, why are you a fan? You're not a fan of the team if you just want to. It's an abusive relationship otherwise. It's like, yeah, I love you only if you're doing really good. And if you're not doing really good, I hate you. And I'm going to talk shit about you on social media. That's toxic. That's a toxic relationship. If you were in a relationship with somebody and they treated you like that, you'd want to leave. And that's what I'm saying. So really look at it that way. Like, what is your relationship with the team? Are you really a fan, or are you just a sports fan that roots for a team, but you are so critical and so like all being, no being, all that you can say whatever you think and you'd be like, yeah, I'm better because I said this and Scottie sucks because he missed all of his shots last night. It's like, what kind of high do you get from that? Really? What kind of high? How do you feel good from that? I'm like, really? Seriously? It's like messed up. I don't understand it. Nameless is saying this is what preseason is for, to make mistakes and figure things out. He's supposed to fail right now. It's kind of the point, really. Yeah. Yeah, especially with Cool Cat's point that we're experimenting. This is the preseason to try new stuff. And if it fails, it doesn't work, well, we can go back to what worked before. It's not like these guys forgot everything that they could do last year that's really good. And I'm sure that they could maybe switch back to that if this is not working out the way it is supposed to so far this preseason. Maybe Nick's like, yeah, I have some ambitious goals for our offense, but maybe he's finding that maybe they're a little too ambitious. And then he really needs to go back to what was working with us last year and maybe mix them together and try and find the right combination of last year with the new stuff he wants to do and stuff like that. Let's see. I'm a fun guy saying, and just like that, it may look like Dalano and Champagny will get spots. Yeah, it could be. Well, we know Delano's making this team. I mean, who's stupid enough to cut Dalano at this point with the different things we're seeing from him? It's like I said, if we cut Dalano, he's going to get an NBA job and he'll be in a rotation for another NBA team in this league. And that ain't right because he's from Toronto and he's our guy and we drafted him. This doesn't make no sense. Champagny, he's still got a lot of question marks as far as this. So I won't say this because, like, honestly, the guys that are showing up and playing, even though they failed last night, that it still means more that they're showing up and they are producing and doing things than not showing up. So Lolita's saying it's preseason. It's experimenting with the plays and the chemistry and the pairing of the players. It will get better. Go Raptors. Very, very succinct and echoing a lot of what we're saying right now. Come on, guys. Preseason, hello, doesn't count. None of these stats count. None of this stuff that happened counts in the long run. They don't even get to put in the books or anything. Cool Cat saying, Masai said to be patient with Scottie in his development. He will be fine. Why is anyone panicking on our rookie? We're experimenting with his responsibilities. Yes. Yes. It's the same people that turned on Pascal in the bubble. It's the same people that turned on Fred VanVleet. It's the same people that turned on Kyle Lowry so many different times throughout the years. DeMar DeRozan. All these different great Raptors have had these Raptor fans turn on them at different times. So let's be real fans and not turn on them and point it out. Are you really a fan? Like, do you care about this team doing well, or are you just looking for somebody to kick while they're down? Because that's what it seems like with a lot of them. Fun guy saying nobody in their right mind should be worried about Scottie at all. He just had no energy, looked tired, like our whole team. That's very true. They do look flat. The starters in particular. I mean, we see some pep from like Dalano, who's been traveling everywhere. He's got a great first step and running all around. We've seen some pep from Precious and Chris at different times in preseason, but overall, the starters have looked very lethargic and like a step slow and just not totally present and on it, lackadaisical and stuff like that. And this may very well be a big talking point in the practice film session this morning that's going on at OVO. That they're looking, you guys, your energy is flat. You guys aren't getting after it. Why aren't you getting to the spot before him on this situation in this play? You know, it's stuff like that that's going on today. You should have been there at that spot to meet him ahead of the time. And that's why he got there and got that basket. You're not getting to your spots on defense ahead of time. And that's probably a lot. That may be part of what they're saying to them right now and stuff like that. Isaac Campbell saying preseason wins. Banton and Precious are the wins you want to see. That's right. We're seeing great developments in young players. We're finding out we have some real good depth. We have some really interesting talent at the end of the bench, and we're finding out. Things. This is a fact-finding mission to figure out what we can do and a little bit of experimentation also. So G saying, cool cat, unfortunately, we have some overreactive emotional fans. We really do. And some of it's immaturity. Some of these are little kids. They're just stupid. They just need to grow up and get a little wiser, a little more mature and stuff like that. Some of it is just really ugly, nasty people that are just like, they hate their lives. They're absolutely miserable fucks. and they just take this is an outlet for them to get more of their misery out in some way as their fandom for the Raptors. Oh, I fucking love the Raptors. What the fuck is wrong with Scottie? Trade him tomorrow. Like, who the fuck are you? What the fuck? I love the Raptors, though. Who really? You love the Raptors? The way you talk about them and your keyboard warrior bullshit that you're saying today. You love the Raptors? And this is what you're saying right now on Twitter and stuff like that? You don't fucking love the Raptors. You're fair weather fan. You got to stick with them in the trenches through the good and the bad. Oh, yeah, you do. Oh, yeah. Callie saying, thanks for the warm welcome, Lex. Had a crazy busy summer. On a positive note, Dalano, Precious, and Boucher all look great. Callie, I hope your summer was absolutely fantastic, full of love, joy, and happiness with people that you love and doing activities that you absolutely enjoy. I'm sure you had a fantastic summer. So I had a good summer too. And spent a lot of time with Scottie Barnes on Twitch. In fact, I was on there from like over 200 hours, I think, with him, just watching him play video games. So I really know Scottie now in like a very deep way, just from like talking to him. In fact, he knows me at this point, Callie. He has found my channel and he does shout outs to me. And like, you know, he's buddies. He saw Tom Duke and met him at the Victoria practice because we told him he was going to be there. We said, Scottie, Tom's going to be at the Victoria practice. He said, oh, well, shout out and I'll come over and say hi. And he did. Tom said, Raptors freak. He yelled, Raptors freak, Tom Duke. And Scottie heard him and walked over from the and sat with him and talked to him for a couple minutes and took a picture with Tom. This is Twitch family. We're in his Twitch family now. So I'm kind of in some sort of virtual entourage of Scottie's at this point. It's crazy, Callie. It's the weirdest thing that happened this summer, being friends with Scottie all of a sudden through the video games and stuff like that. Like, yeah, he knows what the Raptors freak is all about, and he appreciates our positivity and supporting him. Scottie, if you watch me today and you hear what I'm saying, take it from my heart that I want the best for you, and we're just trying to help you and support you the best way we can and stuff like that. We love you, Scottie. That's what I'm saying right now. All right, let's keep going. All right, it jumped ahead as it always does. All right, that was Callie was the last one. Cool Cat saying Delano's development is showing. I think the FIBA experience clicked as opponent's game plan for him in that tournament. He has experience with the physical game too. He's stronger. Yeah, that was a big thing last year when he was doing his interviews as a rookie coming in the season. He's like, I know I'm not very strong. I know I'm very slight, and I'm going to get in the weight room and I'm going to get stronger. That was one of his biggest priorities last season, was to get his frame stronger. And I think he's been successful. He's still very lanky and very lithe and slender, but he seems like he's a lot more able to take physicality, and his arms look wider and he looks a little more sturdy than he did when he first showed up with the Raptors last year at this time. So yeah, I think that's true. And he's got such great confidence from that FIBA experience, such great confidence. Oh my gosh. He went to Brazil and represented his country and did very well in the tournament. And he really was the man on that team. He was the dude. He was the Pascal on that team. So that's a really big deal. G saying, do you think Flynn would have helped with some shooting? Yeah, he could have helped last night for sure. He could have helped. He possibly could have gotten us. Any of these guys could have stepped up and done it. Gabe Brown was the guy for a little bit. I really was crying out for Gary Trent to do something. I mean, not having Fred and Malachi, yeah, that's weird. In some ways, we're like, well, we can go completely positionless for the whole game with no Fred and no Malachi. We didn't really do that the whole game, but we did look positionless for most of the game. And it was absolutely, in some ways, it looked really good, but it's not totally working also. There's some ways the small guards on the other team are still killing us. Like Jalen Green was doing whatever the fuck he wanted to last night. And there's something wrong with that we need to figure out our switching defense. If we're going to play 6'9" guys positionless, that we can't let somebody like Jalen Green go off and do everything that he was doing like he was in the game last night. So G saying we didn't have Fred, Otto, and Flynn, all shooters. So that's something to consider in our horrible shooting. Yeah, they may be three of our best shooters. They may be our three best shooters right there. I mean, Gary, sure, him too, and stuff like that. Gabe Brown's looking pretty good too. But Fred, Otto, and Flynn, those guys are really good three-point shooters, and they definitely would have helped us. Nameless saying, I like to G, but even he hasn't been prolific. Well, Malachi was really good in the preseason. The first game he played, he hit more of his threes than he missed. And he's looked good this summer. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how much he carries. Fred, we know, is a dead eye. I don't care. Fred can miss like 5-6 shots in a row. I want him to keep shooting because I know he's going to make them eventually. And that's what happened last year. He could be cold on threes for most of the game. And then he hits like 2 or 3 big threes at the end of the game in the clutch time to help us take the win home. So, it's that kind of thing. It's like, they can be streak shooters at times, but they're going to make the shots eventually. They're going to make those shots eventually. Fun Guy saying, all I see is conditioning issues, which comes with bad shooting and energy. We good, trust me. All right, Fun Guy saying we're good. It's really weird. Like, you'd think they were primed up because of the Rico Hines runs in August, but there was a period of time between the Rico Hines and the preseason where these guys probably did real vacation. Like Pascal was in Europe, he was in Austria, and then he went to Paris, and Chris was in the islands, and Scottie was here, tying up loose ends, playing video games, and he had to go board his dog and do a couple of things like that. The intensity of Rico Hines, then they didn't do like those kind of runs for most of September, and that's what I'm saying, that they have to kind of rev it up again. So it's kind of like we had this idea in our head, oh, they're just going to come in gangbusters because of Rico Hines, because of what Paul George said. Well, it didn't happen. There was a little bit of a month of real vacation where they probably did take a little bit more time off and relaxed a little bit more, and that they got to get the inertia going into the season, like Fun Guy's saying, that looks like it's a conditioning thing. And I could see that. I could see that in some ways, that they got to just get their breath under them, like, because it's like they're starting the game and they're a little bit of huffing and puffing already and holding their sides like this early, where it's like Pascal, it doesn't happen to, because he's just got some crazy, like, never runs out of time. He's always got energy. And Christian's kind of similar to him in that way too, it seems like. But guys like Precious, Gary, Scottie, we've seen them look tired and lethargic compared to other things. Precious, not as much, but Gary and Scottie for sure, and stuff like that. G saying Delano, Flynn, or Dowtin, Precious, Boucher, and Gabe is a lineup I would love to see in preseason. Length, speed, and shooting. Delano, Flynn, or Dowtin. And okay, so you want 2 of those guards with Precious, Boucher, and Gabe. Yeah, that's a cool combination. You mean off the bench? Okay. Yeah, I really like GABE BROWN from what we're seeing and stuff like that. Kenny's saying it's a voice of reason. It's preseason, y'all. It's preseason. Come on. We can overreact to good success and overreact to bad things also, both ways. Let's see. Fun Guy saying that's why we lose so many game ones, because we get a few days off, layoff before playoffs, and our conditioning is always shit. Must be our franchise routine and regimen. Yeah, like even when we come back from like All-Star break, we had that flat time right after the All-Star break this past season and stuff like that. I think you're right. We cry out about this. It's almost like we want to keep going with the inertia and the energy that we have going, and we don't want time off. We didn't want to take the All-Star break because we were rolling, and then we take the All-Star break and we have to start it back up again. I think there's some truth to this, that it's like we're really good when we're in a groove and we're hitting a lot of beats in a row, and it's maybe tiring. Like some of these stretches last year where we had like 4 games and 5 nights, that was actually really good for us because we were very successful with winning during those 4 games and 5 nights things. I was looking at them, I'm like, holy crap, this is really like a treacherous schedule, very hardworking schedule, but they thrive in it. So I think there may be some truth to what Fun Guy's saying here, that when we get in a groove and we're actually playing and have the team in motion, this is good. And when we have to stop and take some time off, like let's look at how we have a break between the preseason game against Boston and Montreal, between that and then coming and playing Cleveland here in Toronto on the opening day. Like that's a couple of days. That's like 4 or 5 days between. So that's what I'm saying. Hopefully they're ramping them up and working them real hard in practice and stuff like that. Kareem Thomas is saying protect Brown, Jackson, Dowtin at all costs. Not impressed with Bo Cruz, Harper, and Champagny. And also fuck Draymond. I did watch the video of Draymond hitting Jordan Poole yesterday. And, listen, I can see the old head in me is kind of like, okay, he probably deserved it. But a lot of people are saying, of course, nobody deserves to get assaulted like this. And that's true. We have to remember, old heads like me remember the old NBA. And that a lot of the old heads are coming out and saying, like Chris Childs said, this is how Knicks practice was all the time. Steve Kerr said, Michael Jordan punched me out. And this is what he's saying. He's like, well, this is how he's trying to diffuse the situation with these guys. He said, yeah, well, let me tell you about the day that Michael Jordan punched me in the face at practice. This has happened a lot in the history of the NBA. It's just that we're in a woke culture now of nonviolence and not thinking about this stuff. They motherfuckers be fighting in practice. This is normal. Some people think this is so abnormal and crazy, and they're like, "Oh, Draymond needs to go to jail." And maybe he does need an assault charge, and maybe the San Francisco police are looking into it and going to give him an assault charge for this because there's evidence and it's right there and everything like that. But we need to understand that NBA players have punched each other in the face at practice for years and decades since the beginning of the league. So anybody who's getting all crazy about violence and like this is something that Charles Oakley would have done to a young guy, and there wouldn't have been a problem in any kind of way. And I'm not saying that it was okay then, but you all need to have some perspective with the history of the NBA and this kind of stuff. Now we need to reconcile a new world with new rules as far as progressing and being more like evolved and more grown up and mature and stuff like that. Sure, it's wrong and stuff like that, but it's also kind of wrong to talk shit to your teammates all the time and be a snarky little shit. Yeah, fuck around and find out. So I'm on Draymond's side to a degree. You know, if Jordan Poole's being a toxic teammate and talking a lot of shit, this is the thing. Draymond's been on that team forever. And has there been issues with him and teammates? Sure. He had an issue with Kevin Durant at one point. He's had issues with different people. But for the most part, he's been a very positive, healthy, right kind of person, a team leader on this team. So I don't know. You can look at it both ways. It's an assault, and he should get charged for this. And that is the thing that is the most wrong. And everybody's talking about the leak and that being the problem, that they will go after the person who leaked it and stuff like that. Fuck that. You need to talk about the altercation as being the wrong thing. And, you know, the person that did the leak, sure, they're going to get in trouble and all this kind of stuff. But the people that are freaking out and they're more upset about the leak than the actual incident, you're kind of wrong also and stuff like that. As I don't mind the leak. The leak is the leak. The leak is just a symptom of today's world. Cops get filmed shooting people for no reason in a McDonald's parking lot trying to eat their food. They get in trouble. So there's more repercussions in this world because there's more eyes on everyone. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is old school shit that went on all the time. It's just there were no cameras. So in a way, I can see why Draymond did it. And in fighting, people are saying, well, he should have had his guards up. You can push somebody like that. You need to be ready to fight right afterwards because that's the way it is. And it's not like he came at him from the side or behind him or something like that. So people are saying he sucker punched him. Well, you initiated it. He's coming at you. You better be ready. And that's what happened. So in some ways, I'm mad at Draymond. I think he's a goon. I think he's an asshole. But I also understand where he's coming from as an old head and stuff like that. But the fallout for this is going to be interesting. They're never, ever going to really like each other again. And this is going to be like on the down low, a chemistry issue for the Warriors. This is not good. This is crazy that the two teams in the finals from last year look like such dumpster fires all of a sudden. It's so crazy. And in fact, it just tells us that we should expect new teams in the finals this year. That the parity in the league and like the amount of dumpster fires and culture problems around the league is really going to be benefiting the Raptors and the way that they run things positively and correctly as an organization with a good culture. This is going to be huge, huge, huge plus for us when everybody else may have issues like Brooklyn infighting, Warriors infighting, Boston having issues. And we rise up because we're not having the infighting and those kind of problems. That's why we have to stay tight as a ship, because a lot of other ships are going to start sinking in different ways and stuff like that. And then add in all these other teams that are just trying to tank. This season could be one of the easier seasons to try and get to a championship and win it, because there's no clear juggernaut at the top right now. And there's a lot of dumpster fires. There's a lot of tanking that's going to be coming up this season. So we need to strike when the right this season and go get another championship, the second one this year. Yeah, we need to go get the second one this year. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see. G saying, I feel like it's ego. These fans love bragging when they win. So when they lose, they can't take the heat and turn on the players. Very immature mindset. This is exactly it, G. This is why they're so fair weather. They want to get all the benefits and the clout and the feelings of good feelings from when they're doing well, but then they don't want to be around when things are tough and stuff. It gets really hard. There's people like this. When the shit hits the fan, they're nowhere to be found. But when everything's going good and it's fun, they're all about celebrating and being about it, stuff like that. Yeah, it is. A lot of it is ego and immaturity. A lot of it is very much immaturity. All right, let's see. Cool Cat saying Delano, Justin, Champagny, DJ Wilson, Gabe Brown for 905, Josh Jackson for 905 for more development, along with Ron Harper Jr. and Dowtin, who are two ways. Convert Dowtin later for playoffs. Yeah, I agree with this. I think that he's going to do enough. Get your free throws figured out, Jeff Dowtin, so that I can really say with confidence you should be converted to a regular rotation, a regular rostered player from being a two-way by the end of the year, because I'd like to see you on our playoff roster. I think that you would really help us. We haven't even started the season. I can tell you're the kind of player that can really help us in the playoffs. So I'd like to see you do really well this whole season and get converted by the end of the year and be on the Raptors roster for the playoffs, because I think Jeff Dowtin will be very useful in the postseason. Nameless saying, people forget that at the end of the day, these athletes are just humans too. That's right. They have basketball cards. They have bobbleheads. They have different things about them. And we see them on TV and we put them on the pedestal and all this stuff, but they are just really just people. Now, this is a whole big thing about DeMar DeRozan, what he talks about with, his mental health battles and stuff like that. It's like, we need to realize these are human beings just like us, and that they have quirks and different things about them, likes and dislikes and different things about their life that we don't understand. And that we need to respect that. And that they're on such public blast that, people take for granted that they think they can just abuse them and say things to them and stuff like that. The way Russell Westbrook was treated last year in LA comes to mind, stuff like that. So, it's very true. And DeMar has a really cool series on YouTube right now called Compton. And it's kind of like Scotty Barnes' YouTube channel, but he's doing little sections. He has 3 episodes out so far. The first episode's he's in Jamaica training with his kinesiologist, who's like the other guy who's on the show with him all the time. The second one was about Drew League and about his fun and his history with the Drew League in LA. And then the third episode that came out yesterday is really interesting. It's entitled Frank. And it's about his father, and it's about his life, and it's about how he is personally, privately. It's like he starts it off by saying, you guys all think you know me, but you really don't know me. And I want you to know me a little better. So really eye-opening piece on DeMar DeRozan, released on his YouTube channel yesterday. Check it out. All 3 episodes are fantastic. If you love DeMar, it's really interesting, and you learn a lot about him. And he shows old clips. Like, did y'all know this? This is crazy. When he came to Toronto, he didn't have a license. He didn't have a driver's license, but he bought a car. And he went to the dealership, and he was just so happy to get a car as a kid from Compton and just being in Toronto and stuff, that he just drove away with the car, not even realizing he had a license yet. So he drove his car home illegally and then got his license afterwards. So that was a fun little story. And then he was talking about how he told his dad later on in life that he used to steal his car all the time when he was a kid. And like, yeah, Dad, I kept stealing your car and you didn't know it. So DeMar's kind of like a car thief in some ways. And so like he's been stealing cars on the down low and stuff like, or driving without a license and stuff like that. Hilarious stuff. But highly recommend DeMar DeRozan's YouTube channel with the content that's coming out on it. It's really in depth and interesting. He does talk about his father who passed a couple years ago. And it's very nice DeMar content. Highly recommend. And that goes a lot with like what Fun Guy's comment is here. You got to see the humanistic side of who these guys are and what they go through. Oh my gosh. Nameless is saying, imagine you go to work one day at Cubicle 9 and there's a heckler there chirping away while you try and type. I know. And these guys joke about this, like Scottie and other players. Are like, what if I came to your office and I treated you like you treat me on my job? And then I went on social media and slammed you and said all this shit about you after work and stuff like that. We need to have perspective in some ways. Some people will say, oh, they make so much money. It's just part of it. And they do realize that. Yeah, that is just part of it. But, minimize it. We don't need to have it all there. And that's why they cut this noise out. is because of stupid shit and stuff like this and stuff like that. Funguy saying, how do we actually know they're humans and not aliens? I don't know. Like, that's true. Like, sometimes I feel like some of these guys could be like from other worlds just because they have such amazing athletic prowess and weird bodies. Like Victor. Victor could easily be an alien. You guys don't think Victor is an alien? I think he might be an alien. You know, I don't know. Maybe we should go with this narrative. Victor is not a real person. He's extraterrestrial. And that is the only way he's able to be that height and have those kind of skills. So, yeah, that could be true. Lolita's saying, goodness, Scottie have so many things going on. He's only starting his second year in the NBA. Give him a break. He's smart. He'll figure it out. That's right. That's exactly right, Lolita. And that's why if you see anybody out there talking shit about Scottie today, go ahead and stand up for him. Use any of the talking points that I've used today in an argument against them. This is part of what we do. We are that guardian group of fans in the Raptors fan nation that will stay positive, even when the things are looking really shitty. We could lose 10 games in a row, God forbid. And we would still be at the end of that 10th game that we lost in a row as positive as possible and building them up and supporting them. I don't give a shit. This is not conditional. I'm not conditionally loving the Raptors. You have to do good, Raptors, or I won't love you. Ooh, no, this is unconditional love. And that is real love. If you have a condition on your love, it's not really love. So get to the real love, Raptor fans, and make it unconditional. You guys are being too conditional with your love, is what I'll say right here. All right, let's keep going. Evelyn's saying, believe it or not, Monique, Tom, the Monique, Alexi, Tom team will be the Trios Los Panchos of Raptor Free Group. Not that they're singing beautiful music. They will help us to grow maturely as a solid Raptors fan club. Wow, Evelyn, that is great. Ah, la, 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 la. Figaro, Figaro, Figaro. I'll sing. We gonna sing? I don't know. Tom can sing. Maybe. I don't know if Tom can sing. I don't know. Maybe we can do a singing group, a little barbershop quartet. Get Greg, Shubstown Clink, and just sing some songs and stuff like that. I don't know. I think you're right, though, Evelyn. We're trying to develop a new young core, and that is a Raptor-free core of fans that will do this right. Yes, Evelyn. Thank you for recognizing, and you are a big part of it too. I'm putting you on that team with us. You're in there with us. You're starting too. Cool Cat saying the rookies from last year will be household names in the league. I'm feeling sorry for Jalen Suggs. He got injured again and can't catch a break. I see a lot of short guards getting injured. Yeah, sorry to hear about Jalen Suggs yesterday for sure. And listen, if anything, Scottie Barnes and Delano Banton are very special talents, and they will be in the league for years to come, years and years to come. And Delano is really, really, really such a bright spot right now. Really focus your attention on him, y'all. Let's just love Delano. Forget about all the other stuff, and let's just focus and shower love on Delano Banton. Yes. Funguy saying Scottie looks really heavy, like he's been in the weight room much more than cardio. Yeah, that could be part of it. Somebody said this the other day, and I was trying to like, are you being funny that he has too much muscle and it's weighing him down running around court? Well, some of the evidence on the court right now looks like this may be true, that he's heavier and maybe not as sleek and moving up and down the court. Well, if he has a little bit of extra weight on him and conditioning, he's going to work it off quick. So Funguy's been right all along. Just give him some time to get the cardio and get the breath, the gas to go up and down the court and be fine. And he'll get there. But I think this is true that he did really focus on the weights a lot this summer, but he was running. He was getting up and down the court and stuff like that too. I don't know. Isaac Campbell saying, I watched Redeem Team Netflix doc on Team USA last night after the game. You cannot learn to win when it counts without appreciating the losses. Wow, that's deep. That's from the thing? I knew the story of that team, but I haven't seen that documentary yet, but I really do want to see it. You know, it was such a weird mix of players and stuff like that. And they were really getting a lot of crap for not doing well. USA was failing on the international stage and not finding success that they had found so much before and stuff like that. So I'm sure it's a really good story. I have to watch it, so I can't really comment on it too much. But I think what you're saying here is right. To learn to win when it counts, you cannot learn to win when it counts without appreciating the losses. And listen, if it's preseason and it's Houston and it doesn't matter, I'll take this loss. I'll take this learning loss to get the film so they can sit there this morning and talk about it and work it all out for the regular season when it counts and stuff like that. Let's see. G saying, Sheb brought up a point about players putting on muscle and having an adjustment period to it. Even shooting mechanics change. Ooh, Sheb. That is a very, very good, astute observation. And this is very true in the history of the NBA. Guys have gotten bigger, and there's an adjustment to their jump shot. There's an adjustment to how they carry that weight on the court. And you know what? Shev is a genius. He's exactly right on this. I will double down on this and say, you know what? He's probably right. Maybe that is what it is. The Scotty's just so strong now. He has to get used to his strong body. And then he's not totally used to throwing that stronger body around and what they're doing and stuff like that. That really good point. And I'm glad you told me what Shev's saying right now. In fact, G, if you can tell me what Shev's saying from time to time, I don't mind that at all, because I do want to hear his voice. And he does have some really, really good observations and stuff like that. Nameless, why'd you take that away? I was just about to read that. Oh my gosh. Come on, Nameless. You're robbing me of a good comment. All right, let me keep going. Oh, you retracted all your messages. Why are you doing that? All right, let's see. Monique saying, I'm going to say Fred plays tomorrow. Yeah, Fred will play tomorrow. He's not going to sit 2 games in a row. They'll probably sit somebody else. Like they may sit Pascal tomorrow. Let's see. Tom Duke saying, always grateful for Scottie. We do love Mr. 94 feet. Also grateful for you and, of course, Lex. All right, Tom Duke, all the best. I appreciate it. Are you still in Seattle and stuff like that? Like I said, I'm going to message you after the stream today, and just, this little stuff I want to talk about with what we're doing with the channel and stuff like that. Things are really, really good. But yeah, there's a little things that I want to just tinker with, and I know you can help me with and stuff like that. Top saying, rap support has come a long way. I remember being in res at York U, and we had to fight to get the Raps put on the common room TV back in the day. There was only 3 or 4 of us who were fans. Yeah, I mean, I can remember going to bars around Toronto, and if there was a hockey on or it didn't even have to be the Leafs. They could be the Canadians or any kind of hockey game. People didn't want to change the channel to put the Raptors on, which was actually Toronto's team. They'd be wanting to watch a Vancouver Canucks hockey game over a Toronto Raptors game. And I would fight with people at bars, literally, to try and get the basketball on the TV. And I get a lot of shit talk too. You say, oh, you like basketball? Where's the hockey town? And all this kind of stuff. They get mad. So I totally know what you're talking about. And it has come a long way. In fact, it's come such a long way that they're trying to hide the games from us. It's so hard to find ways to watch the games. You have to pay extra, have extra channels, have to have this, have to have that. It's fucked up. In fact, that's part of the way they're hurting us and trying to make it so it's not easy to be a Raptors fan by making it hard to watch the games on TV with the cable packages and how you have to do this and that. And in fact, I was watching TSN before the game last night, and they did the top 50 plays of last season, and they didn't have a single damn Raptor play on it. So there's a little insidiousness on this side of the border with TSN, just like ESPN, that they may promote the NBA, but they promote it as a whole league, and they cover all the teams, and maybe they hope other people here in Canada will be more fans of the Lakers or the Celtics or Bulls or something like that, because they push the NBA teams in the US even more than the Toronto in some ways. Like, I'm like, Corey Warren, when am I going to fucking see a Raptors highlight in your countdown of the best plays from last season? You are Canada's sports channel, the sports network, TSN, and you covered the Raptors. There's only one Canadian team in this league. Why the fuck is there not one single Toronto Raptors? Where's the CRTC with the Canadian content? Wait. Whoa. I said CRTC. All right, listen, TSN, get your act together. There should be more Raptors highlights in your top highlights for the NBA last season. I am part of Canadian content organization, and I might have to fine you guys for not putting enough Canadian content in your NBA top plays from last year. That it was really disheartening to see so many other teams getting all these plays, and you didn't even have a single Raptors highlight in the top 50 plays from last season. You're failing. I'm sorry, TSN. You're on notice. You're getting a warning from me as a Canadian content supervisor, Justin Beaver. And by the way, Corey Warren, you're my son. I'm not the son today. Yes. I'm not the son today. Woo. general point is TSN's not helping us either. They're a hockey channel, and they don't want to help the Raptors get more popular by showing their highlights or saying giving us respect either. They will treat us just as badly as ESPN will and stuff like that. So, all right, let's keep going. Fun guy saying Rockets fans are talking mad sweet because mad shit. Maybe because we own their franchise and they finally got a win. Yeah, they're feeling pretty good. They can feel pretty good. Whatever. Let them have that. They don't have a whole lot to feel good about in the last few years and stuff like that. We got to let them have a little bit of shine and stuff like that. I mean, it does mean something to them that their team beat the Raptors, the big, bad, important Raptors. You know, they weight us either as a shitty team or it's like, oh, when the team beats us, they feel like they accomplished something. So which way is it? Is like they're a shitty team, or it's like, oh, we beat the Raptors. This is so great. You know, excuse me. But yeah, they can go ahead and talk their trash for today. They're 2-0 for the preseason. They beat the Spurs and us. The Spurs real easy to beat. They can be impressed about last night and talk a little shit, Rockets fans. You deserve it. You deserve it. Go ahead. It's been a while. You haven't been allowed to. There's no reason for you to talk any shit until last night, at least with us. All right, let's see. G saying smaller guards guard smaller guards better. I don't think fully 6'9" is practical. In my opinion, it's harder for taller players to guard small, fast guards. Wow. G is once again really astute, really learned basketball head, understands things. And this is something we may be finding out more and more with Vision 6'9", that it may not work totally if there's very gifted small guards that can really play on another level that we just can't handle. And this may be the biggest fault in Vision 6'9". And there is a lot of evidence to support this from the game last night. So you know what, G, I'm not going to disagree with you that this may be the flaw with Vision 6'9", is that we just can't keep up with Jalen Green kind of guys and stuff like that with that lineup, unless these plus defenders like Precious, OG, and Scottie start getting their ass together and showing that they can shut down and cut the water off on a guy like Jalen Green. I'm going to start agreeing with you on this. But that's the thing. These premium big defenders that we got that can guard the small guards, they need to do it. And it may be that they're switching too much off of those guys. And then all of a sudden, Boucher's guarding Jalen Green. And that's part of the reason why it's not working, because they're switching it to the smart way to get their small guard to be having a matchup that they can absolutely beat and stuff like that. So there is some tinkering and some switches they need to do to Vision 6'9" and positionless basketball for it to work, because small guards are showing a kryptonite for us with that. Oh, very, very good. This may be the comment of the day. That's just illuminating, showing stuff. That with the G thing, the Chev thing that you said is probably two big things that contributed to the tough stuff last night. Is Chev's point and the one you just made right there. Duke Rocks is saying, didn't get a chance to watch the game last night, but it's mostly a case of have back-to-back lousy shooting nights. We'll get it together to start the season. Yeah, Duke's being positive and stuff like that. Listen, you didn't miss a whole lot of anything. There weren't a whole lot of interesting kind of highlights and stuff. It was kind of a frustrating game. It really was kind of like the Boston game on Wednesday, where it looked like, yeah, we had the potential to come back and do it. And they had their chances to. There were times where we were only down by 8 late in the game, and we could have gone on a real push and pushed it over. But for some reason, we were just not finding that kind of motivation or energy to do that. It's almost like those guys that did it against Boston on Wednesday just didn't have the gas to do it in this one. Jackson and Dowtin, Gabe Brown, DJ Wilson, they just didn't have it like they did on Wednesday to push it past that point to get over them. And it would get to as close as 8 points, and then it's back to 12, 15 points all of a sudden. It sucked, Duke. If you're gonna miss a game so far, that's the one to miss, the one last night. Fun guy saying, that's what I love about Koloko. He's got that African conditioning like Pascal from soccer, never tired. That could be true. There could be very much a correlation between young soccer players, guys that played soccer more than basketball when they're young, and them having a motor and them having a lot of energy on the court. Pascal said he can't afford to be tired. He just can't. It's just his role on the team. He cannot afford to be tired or upset or anything like that. He has to be a robot, and that's just who he is and stuff like that. Fun guy saying that Draymond video is disturbing. It has no place in the league. that guy. But Alexi, that was a cheap shot and unwarranted. We don't know what they said and stuff like that. And it could have been boiling up. I really think Jordan Poole's an asshole. I think Jordan Poole talks a lot of mad shit. And I think that that's part of the problem. I get a very cocky arrogance from him that in some ways is very like annoying and like a turnoff for me. So I'm not necessarily on Jordan Poole's side. Sure, there's no place for this in the league. There's no this or this or this. But in some ways, maybe he needs to respect the leaders on his team that have been around longer than him and maybe have a couple more rings on their fingers than him. So I don't know. This should have been dealt with internally. It is really bad that the video came out. It's good for the rest of the league. It's good for the Raptors, but it's really bad for the Warriors. And I don't know. I mean, all right, it is disturbing, but it's not like I don't see people getting punched and violent videos online all the time. In some ways, that looks very mild compared to some of the shit that's going on in society in different places that's messed up. And it's not that I want to see more of it or anything, or I want to poo-poo what happened. But like I said, once again, this is very much old NBA kind of stuff that happened behind closed doors. And this is something that Charles Oakley, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, all these great heralded stars that have no tarnish on their name, they've all punched people out in practice before. All these old stars have done this. Charles punched somebody in practice. Charles Oakley punched somebody in practice. Michael Jordan punched Steve Kerr. You know, it's happened. And even everybody who's coming down on Kareem for punching that player in the game after criticizing Kyrie Irving, y'all are wrong too. Because this is way different what Kyrie's doing, shooting birds at the fans and antagonizing the fans and doing stuff. That's a different role model. Now, Kareem, that's not a good role model either when he punched the dude in the face and sucker punched him. But y'all need to remember also the NBA was different at that time. There was a lot of different kind of stuff happening at that time with people punching each other. And there wasn't a Malice in the Palace yet and stuff like that. Larry Bird punched somebody. Bill Laimbeer punched somebody. Dennis Rodman punched somebody. They were all punching each other. You know, it's just how the league was and stuff like that. But I won't disagree with you. It was disturbing. It has no place in the league at this point in the history of it. But there is a history to it in the league. It's just what I'm saying and stuff like that. I don't think it was totally a cheap shot. And I do think it was unwarranted. Nobody should ever physically hit someone in a civilized society. But in some ways also, it's like, fuck around and find out. You keep pushing me and you literally push me. You know, that's what I'm saying. We don't know how many weeks this guy maybe have been like chirping at Draymond and going back and forth with him, talking shit. This may have been something that's been a problem all along. It may be that they've never liked each other. And Draymond just at this point, he's like, I've had enough of your fucking shit. And he's like, boom, you know, I don't know. I'm standing up for Draymond partly because he's on my fantasy team, but also partly because he represents the old school. And Jordan Poole represents the new school. And I don't think the new school's right on this. There's a lot of cockiness, a lot of shit talking from the new school that is not actually very much warranted or earned yet. And that's what I'm saying. So sometimes the old school needs to knock the new school into its place. And in this case, I think this is partly what's happening here. Nameless is saying, motherfuckers be punched out in the face since 1945. That's right, Nameless. That's exactly right. Motherfuckers be getting punched in the face since 1945. Hilarious. G saying, apparently Poole is not toxic. I think Draymond is the toxic one and can't just make room for the youth in their play. No, I think Poole is toxic because seriously, he's very cocky. He talks shit to everybody on the court all the time. Other teams, whoever, he's talking shit to his own teammates. And if he really did say you're a triple single machine to Draymond, that's insulting. And he should be respecting the elders on his team a little bit better. It's not like Scottie's coming into our team and talking shit to Pascal and Fred like that. That's what I'm saying. There's levels to this. I get that aura from him. He just has a swagger to him that's way too big-headed as far as Jordan Poole. Like, I know you're a young upcoming star. You're rising up. You don't, listen, Steph earned his cockiness. Steph Curry can be this dude. You haven't totally, fully, yeah. And especially if your own teammates are kind of putting you in check. You guys are saying he's not the toxic one? Well, I don't know. I'm looking at a surface level, and I'm looking at history with Draymond. I'm looking at, the body language. And like I said, the way that Jordan Poole carries himself, there's just an arrogance about it. And I'll bet you since he won a championship, he's turned it up. magnified it. And plus, he got a contract. And like I said, all these guys are in positional battles with him that were fighting for minutes. They showed that they want to double down on him. So that's got to be boosting him too. It could be his personality changed just this summer and that he is being more out of pocket with what he's saying to other people because he's cocky. I don't know. I don't know for sure. You guys may be right. I may be wrong. So, but that's the way I read it from looking from the outside. Nameless is saying James Naismith probably punched in the face a few practice or two. Yeah, for sure. And he was coaching women. They probably punched him in the face. They're like, James, you're getting fresh with me. Bam. Basketball players back then were called cagers, and they had the cage around the whole thing, so the ball wouldn't go far away, so that they didn't have to run after it. It was real easy to keep the ball in bounds because the cage was in bounds, and it would just bounce off the wall. So they're in cage fights already. So these are tough women playing basketball at the very beginning that were taught how to play basketball. That's right. Basketball initially was a women's sport, y'all. He worked at the YWCA, and he put that peach basket up for ladies to play. This is true. It was YWCA. The ladies were playing with James Naismith in the very beginning of the sport. All right, let's keep going. G saying Green got in his space and up to his chest. The push was warranted. The punch wasn't, in my opinion. Well, he lost his temper. And we know that Draymond loses temper and stuff like that. Look, he's going to get punished by the law. The police are looking into this, and he's going to get punished, and he's going to get all kinds of fallout for this. In fact, some people are very gleefully liking this because they hate Draymond, and they know this partly will be part of his downfall in some ways. This may very much hurt his career for the season in certain ways and stuff like that. So, he's going to get the repercussions. I'm just trying to get behind the things like the reasoning of why he would boil over, and why would you keep John at him like that? That's not good. And why wouldn't anybody else that's standing around there not realize what was starting to happen? There's Steph Curry standing right there, right next to when it happened. There's staffers all around. You couldn't hear them talking shit to each other for like 5 minutes like that and understand what was maybe about to happen? So there's a lot of fail all around with the Warriors on this one. Whether it's the two Warriors involved, whether it's their staff, whether it's the leak, whether it's the video, whatever, it's all fail for Warriors Nation right there. Let's see. G saying to FUNGUY, G, I fully agree, especially if Draymond's breath is kicking into Poole's nose. I'm pushing too. Yeah, okay. I mean, I get it. It should have never got to that point. It just should have never got to that point. Maybe Steve Kerr's at fault for this, for not diffusing some of this situation. I feel like Kerr sometimes rides this wave of like, yeah, Draymond's cocky. He's an ass. Steph's cocky. That's just our vibe. Warriors are just cocky vibe because we're champions and stuff like that. Even Steve Kerr's a little cocky himself. That's what I'm saying. That cocky vibe from the Warriors may have bit themselves in the foot on this one. That their cockiness rubbed off on each other in the wrong way, and now they're slugging it and stuff like that. All right. I'm going to, it's not that I disagree with you guys. I actually agree with you guys. We're just looking at it at different sides. I'm trying to look at it from Draymond's perspective, and maybe that is completely the wrong perspective to look at this from because he's completely wrong and stuff like that. So you know what? You guys can win me over on this as far as like reasonings for who did this and what, and who's actually at fault and stuff like that. Okay. Draymond is definitely at fault the most and stuff like that. But still, Poole I don't think he's totally innocent in this. For some reason, there's something that's not right. G saying, to me, Green looks like a bitter old man. Poole is almost 10 years younger. You see, now I want to go that route with that. You got to understand, NBA teams have hierarchies, that you have vets. This is the thing. Draymond is a 4-time NBA champion. He gets respect. He should get respect from young Jordan Poole, who should be like, I want to learn from you, Draymond. I want to get better. Now, Jordan Poole is just like, I'm good. I'm cocky. And we don't know exactly how it's going like this. I think that Draymond wouldn't have punched him if he really, really didn't really want to. And that this had been simmering for a while. And I'm pretty positive that this dude just talks mad shit all the time. In fact, I think I remember games last year when we played the Warriors where he just looked like he was yapping the whole time, Jordan Poole, that he just can't stop talking shit, that's just part of his characteristic as a person. He's just a shit talker. He's an arrogant little shit talker. And sure, Draymond is that too. In some ways, he's an arrogant shit talker too, but he's earned the stripes in some ways. Jordan Poole's got 1 championship. He's got 3 and stuff like that. The age thing should matter as far as respect. It shouldn't be like he's bitter. I mean, what's he bitter about? He wins championships all the time. He wants to come to practice and maybe not hear some younger player talk shit to him when it's not really deserved and stuff like that. I think that's probably more of it is. Tom's saying Draymond is just holding on in general and frustrated that he's becoming irrelevant. Yeah, that may be true. I don't know if that's true, though. I think he's very helpful to the team because he's actually kind of like a point forward. He gets a lot of assists and he does a lot of intangibles and stuff like that. If he was no good, they'd get rid of him. He wouldn't be on the team anymore. He's useful and stuff like that. You've got to respect your vets that have been around for a long time. In some ways, he's like Charles Oakley. He should not be fucked with in some ways is what I'm saying. Now, if he's talking mad shit to other people and is inviting it, then yeah, sure. He probably he is wrong and stuff like that. I don't know. We can talk about this all day and just go around in circles and stuff like that. I did want to talk about this today, and I'm glad we are. Duke Rocks is saying all the who's who of the Warriors stated Poole was giving his best at all the practices and was a good teammate. Green has his method of trying to make players better by lighting a fire. He might have started it up and stuff like that. Okay. Well, I hadn't heard all this stuff. If you guys are saying that everybody's standing up for Poole in this situation and that Draymond's wrong, okay. Then I'm not very well educated on this situation. I can just only go by the optics of what I can observe and see and stuff like that. And I may be completely wrong. I'm willing to admit that. G saying, haha, fun guy. Yep, no tolerance for that breath in his nose. Nameless is saying the best thing we can do to cause anarchy for Golden State is blow this thing up with a ton of fake rage. Yeah, Draymond, you need to be in jail tomorrow. He needs to be in jail for the season. It's assault. Monique saying with Malachi coming back playing with a mask, let's play marksman. Who wore the mask better in Raps history? Go. Are you playing off of that Raptors today that they did yesterday with all the different masks that they were showing off? They showed like Andrea Bargnani and Jelani McCoy and all these old masks and stuff like that. Well, maybe I'll go outside the box and say the best mask in Raptors history is Summer League. Correct. I thought that he looked really good in a mask this summer. So I'm just going to go out of the box and say he's correct, even though everybody hates him for beating up his girlfriend one summer and stuff like that. I don't know. I thought that mask looked pretty good on him. Kem Birch's mask last year wasn't too bad either. It's a weird subject, talking about masks on players and stuff like that. G saying, speaking of my friend, I just had his car stolen. Don't leave your cars running. He went to get something from inside and someone crossed the street and just took it. Yeah, I just there's a video out. I watched all my videos yesterday, and there's a new video out. I think it's by Lloyd Banks, and he's like starts the video off as like went up to Toronto and stole some cars, went down to Miami and got some protection money. Toronto really is being more known for being a city where cars get stolen. And the thing is happening is that they're getting stolen by international syndicates that aren't even based in Toronto. They see Toronto as a city that's very easy to get very good cars from unsuspecting Canadians. They're just like, I leave my door unlocked. Everything's fine. We've seen Mitch Marner get carjacked in the last year and stuff like that. Be careful with your car in Toronto. You cannot leave your car running and go inside. You're crazy. Who does that? That's insane. I wouldn't do that in Tallahassee. And that's a small town. And there's less people around. Doing that here with so many more people around, that is just stupid and asking for it. I feel bad for your friend, but that was really bad judgment. It is true, y'all. The cars are getting stolen at an alarming rate here in Toronto. That if you have a nicer car, a car that is actually like kind of a magnet for car thieves, be very, very careful. That this is a city that is targeted by crime syndicates around the world. People that are in mafioso in the States and Europe and Asia, they are coming here to steal our cars and ship them to other countries and make the money off of it. It's very lucrative. And that this is an easy place for them to steal cars from. So that's why we get targeted here in Toronto. So please be safe here in the 416 and be aware and protect your car. Get a car alarm if you got to, but definitely keep it locked and keep it, just be smart and know your surroundings when you're getting in and out of the car. Really pay attention. I tell people, men or women, get those keys in your hand just right, just in case you got a strike and stuff like that. So I hate having to say this kind of stuff, but this is just a reality. And just, be aware of what your surroundings with your car and protect your car is what I'm saying. Yeah. He went to get something from inside, and somebody just crossed the street and just took it. It's that easy. People are paying attention. People are looking. Don't think that you can just like, oh, I'm gonna do that. Trust will get you in trouble in certain ways. Evelyn's saying, have to go, guys. Granny is preparing for MRI on my sciatica pain. Hope to see all of you tomorrow at the game. Oh, Evelyn, I hope that your MRI goes really well and you get really good results. I hate to hear that, Granny Evelyn. And I hope to see you at the game also tomorrow. 4:20, we're meeting at the cross columns with the stars on them, 4:20 sharp before the building opens, and then we'll go into the building together. Hopefully, I'll see you there, Evelyn, at 4:20. If not, hopefully we can find you inside somewhere somehow. If you get there a little late after the 4:20 and we're already inside, we'll probably be near the Scotiabank ATM and the Real Sports clothing store and the elevator that goes up to the practice facility, the northwest corner of Scottie Bank Arena, in that area near where they have a car kind of just parked over there. You know where I'm talking about, that part of the arena. That's where you could probably find us if y'all show up late and we're not outside at that point. Let's see. Yeah, best wishes to Evelyn from everyone. That's really good. Duke Rocks is saying, don't we have a new offensive coach this season? Well, they switch around. I mean, Trevor Gleason was the new offensive coach last year, bringing the flex offense. And we kind of decided that the flex offense isn't completely working, that they need to kind of figure it out in a different way and stuff like that. Well, the roles of the coaches on our staff switch and rotate as the season goes on. So it could be we're starting the season with Earl Watson as our offensive coach, and then it switches to like Adrian Griffin a couple months in, and then Nate Bjorngren's the offensive coach. It's because he wants them all to be good at all their different jobs. And he also found that when he was the offensive coach under Dwayne Casey, he was limited to only being the offensive coach. And when he gave advice to Casey, he wanted to give him advice that would favor his players being out there, the offensive minded players, and getting them more time. And the defensive coach was doing the same thing from the other perspective. Like, oh, you should play this defensive player more so that I look better. And Nick was like, I want my offensive players out there more. So he realized that the roles being the same all the time causes a conflict among the coaches for what they tell the head coach they should do with the team. And that by rotating the guys from each role every couple months means that they don't just give him advice to help what their role is as a coach on the team. So does that make sense, Duke Rocks? That is really how Nick Nurse does it. So there's no designated offensive coach. There's a coach that takes care of that for different periods of time, but it switches around and stuff like that. So the new coach that everybody's talking about is Rico Hines, and he's more a development coach. He's more on the second bench, and he's a development coach, not necessarily X's and O's and with the guys on the front bench with Nick and stuff like that. So Nameless is saying, we're like Raptors Mensa, I swear to God. Well, listen, one thing I learned at improv at Second City is play to your IQ, play to your intelligence. And that's part of this channel is like, I got to marry everything in from my whole life, whether it's my love for the passion for the Raptors, obviously, my love for music, my intelligence and knowledge of politics, and my background in social sciences and university. It just all comes together. And then my journey in life, going through so much misery and pain and sadness, just like DeMar DeRozan, it makes you wiser and able to understand things and help other people understand things also that are going through similar things. So that's part of it. But I like that. Yeah, it's a little bit of a different uptick in intelligence in some ways than other Raptors content, I guess, even though I have a puppet of a beaver on the show. It's like Raptors Mensa with a beaver puppet. I don't know. It's crazy. I'm a fun guy. Some people used to call me an alien because of being 6 foot, 340 pounds of pure muscle. Wow. You're from the planet Muscle. Yeah. Wow, fun guy. You're a big dude, man. I wouldn't be messing around with you and anything like that. That is a lot of muscle for that height and that weight. Wow. Insane. Well, if I'm in the dark alley and I'm about to get in a fight, I know who I want behind me. That's the fun guy. That's for sure. Paul B's here. Good to see Paul B. Hope you're healing up good. Dalano looks poised to take the next step. Yes. And the next step's a very quick first step to the basket, and he is getting there, and it is going in. That is what it looks like, that next step. Over and over again. I love it. Good to see you, Paul B, in this chat this morning. Fun guy saying, got to go check out what happened to Jalen Suggs. It's his leg. I'm not sure. They did have to haul him off the court, though, which is no good. Fun guy G saying, fun guy, now we know whom to call if someone bugs us. Yes, yes. This is like a Christian Siakam, somebody we can have come in and help us out real quick. Yeah, fun guy's a good friend to have on your side. G saying, I don't care about this loss one bit. Dalano and Koloko look great. Gabe's shooting under pressure has been consistent. Dowtin is composed even when missing. 100% agree from Duke Rocks also. Yeah, let's just take the positives from this. This is what we do. This game doesn't count. Sure, we can sewer ourselves and all the negatives and the stupid shit that happened last night, but what's the point? What is the point? We actually did look like we were coming back from them, and we could have made a good push with the starters out there late in the game and maybe won the game. But we just didn't. It is what it is. Mason Culligan, good to see a new name here. We're here every morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you join us more often. Hey, I'm a day one Raptors fan. Glad to see someone with great passion about the Raptors. I'm glad to be a part of this channel. Keep up the good work. I'm glad we drafted a center. Yes, Mason, great first comment debut. Love it. I love it. And I hope you're here more often. Like I said, I do this every day, 9:30 a.m. You can talk Raptors with me, and it's interactive on the chat. Just as long as y'all are subscribed, you can get your comments read, and interact with me on it. And I love what you're saying. I appreciate the kind words and stuff like that. You're in the right place as a day one Raptor fan, someone that really cares about this team and wants to see them win more championships. You're in the right place right here. Alistair's saying, we're a lottery team. Oh my gosh. Alistair's chicken littling now. He's he's being sarcastic. I know he's going crazy. Oh my gosh, we're a lottery team because we lost the Rockets. Obviously, they're a lottery team, so we must be a lottery team too. Yeah, that's always how things work. It's very much just be right in the moment and just be exactly what you were the last time you played. And that's exactly who we are. Alistair, I know you're joking. I know you're joking. It's hilarious. Mason saying, I said last year, without a 7-foot rebounding big, we will fail if we want to shoot a lot of threes. We need height for boards. Yeah, and especially because they're long boards and stuff like that. I really love Chris Boucher's dedication to becoming more of a really good rebounder. You can really tell he's paying attention to arcs and way the ball comes off the backboard and the rim and where it's going to bounce to. This is very much Dennis Rodman studying stuff. Dennis used to do practice with Jordan and Pippen and just really pay attention to each specific player, how the ball, their tendency and how it would bounce and where it would go. With Koloko, Precious, Chris Boucher, these kind of guys can really pay attention to that kind of stuff and know the tendencies. Like OG shoots this way, and he's more likely to maybe possibly like either hit the back of the rim or it's just going to go swish through the basket. Then you can kind of adjust and know where to position yourself to go get the rebound. But I think you're right. This is because we're going to shoot a lot of threes. We're going to need guys that can get that. And Koloko's been a great drafting. You're right. I'm so happy we drafted him too, because he's got a little bit of a height over everybody, and he can go get the rebounds easier ahead of people and get there faster than other guys. Is that combination of height and mobility and getting after it. I love 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 it. Green is a snake. Okay, Mason is not a fan of Draymond Green, and that's fine. A lot of people aren't. I'm not totally a fan of him either. I've hated him at different times in his career and stuff like that. Let's see. Evelyn's saying, merci beaucoup, G and Tom, and all of you wish me well. The love and concern. Ciao. Ciao, baby. I'm off to the MRI. Well, Evelyn, I hope it all goes really great and everything comes out and you get some good results and good things that they're saying about what's going on and stuff. G saying, Dre would have never done that to Serge, though. To me, it felt predatorial and out of jealousy. Dre has been talking shit his entire career, but people put up with it and never punched him. Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody did punch him at some point. Maybe Kevin Durant punched Draymond Green like 3 years ago or something like that. I don't know. We don't know. Usually this stuff is kept in-house. And we're seeing the dumpster fires really have to do with leaks. That Kevin Durant being so public this summer, talking about trades and stuff, dumpster fire. Boston with leaking the issues with Ime Udoka early. That's a dumpster fire leak. There's a leak of a video now. That's a dumpster fire. It's very interesting how they're connected to leaks and stuff like that. I don't know. They should have took care of this in house and stuff like that. Who knows? Maybe Draymond is going to get what he deserves. Who knows? We don't know. Adam Silver may have some really weird punishment for him because it's so public and it looks so bad. And he may want to make an example of him. You know, he may get a suspension this year that may seem heavy handed. Like, what if he's suspended for like 30 games because of this or something like that? It may seem a little excessive, but, you know, they got to kind of look at it as like, well, this is public now and people are seeing this and it's very violent. And we need to send a message that this kind of behavior is not allowed in the NBA. So we got to see, first of all, the police, how they react to it. We got to see how the Warriors organization reacts to it. And then we got to see how the NBA as a body reacts to it too. It's going to be very interesting. Mason saying, Lex, I get your points, but Green knows better. And he did what he did. Yeah. He lost his temper, and that's always where you get in trouble. When you lose your temper in any kind of way in your life, you're probably going to be at fault. So that's really an important reason why you got to stay calm, cool, and collected and not take the bait. You know, people are going to be haters. People are going to talk shit to you. And, you know, the person that gets in trouble is the person who gets physical and hurts somebody. So, yeah, this is all true. And you're right. You're right. Isaac's saying on ball pressure that Fred VanVleet creates is underrated. If Raps drop back into his zone, a player like Banton coming in and picking up the ball handling, crossing half court, it could avoid breakdown issues. Isaac really paying attention to this. And I think this is right. The ball pressure when Fred's out there is a lot different. And it could be that Houston had too much in an easy time initiating their offense and doing things too easy because of the 6'9" lineup. I don't know. We're on a fact-finding mission with experimentation in our preseason, and we're finding facts that we don't necessarily like, but there's time to adjust and figure out what may work and stuff like that. That's the important thing. Mason saying Green is a dirty player. Every time someone gets the best of him, he cheats or tries to hurt players in the game. Now he's hurting his own players. He's dead wrong. Yeah, it is wrong. It's wrong. All right, I won't be critical of Jordan Poole in this situation because it seems that everybody's pretty much on his side at this point. I think there's something more to it, though. And if they're going to coexist, they really got to squash this beef. Now, the thing is, it's like, all right, maybe Draymond's real good at getting past things and working with people, even though things are ugly. Now, let's see if Jordan Poole cannot hold a grudge against him and coexist as a teammate because it's going to take him doing that also. And it may be that this is irreparable damage, that they can't fix this and that there's not going to be the kind of trust that teammates need to have to really be good teammates on an NBA team. So it's going to be a two-way street. And they're saying already, their lip service is there. It's like, oh, they've squashed it. They're fine. Everything's fine at this point. Well, that's the Warriors trying to make things seem as rosy as possible, no matter what. In some ways. Monique saying, you know how much I hate Green, so don't even, Lex. I'm the only one here defending Draymond Green, and that's fine. And you know what? I won't to a certain extent. I'll just say you guys are right. He's a goon. He's an asshole. He's talked a lot of shit for his career, and maybe he's going to get what he deserves after this in some ways, which, you know, it is what it is and stuff like that. Duke saying, Green and Smart have the dirty player quality. Hate those guys. But when they're on your team, they make the difference when it comes to winning. That's right. That's a lot of truth to this. They talk about these guys as being defensive gods, as being so great defensively and stuff like that. I don't buy into that talk for either one of them. I think that they are floppers and they're dirty and they're doing a lot of intangible things that they're slick, they get away with, but they're not actually really like things that people would be like very proud of. They're kind of like, yeah, what you're saying is like on the down low, they're grabbing jerseys underneath arms. They're hitting people. They're, you know, flopping. They're, you know, doing stuff that's not necessarily the most, like heralded or like, yeah, this is, you're kind of a piece of shit. Yeah. And those two players are the kind of players you exactly, Duke. And you're talking about Jalen Green, Draymond Green and Marcus Smart. Yeah. Mason saying, as for the Raptors, we need to play fast style ball, push the game and play defense and rebound more. And we will be a 51 win team this year. The East is opened up. Yeah, I agree with this. I like it when we play up tempo. I like it when they grab the rebound. The guy grabs it like Precious or Scottie, brings it like right up the court really quickly. And I like how Dalano tries to get in the lane right away and attack the rim in transition with that full head of speed. That is the thing. We keep the defense on their heels. I've said this so much in the last year. This is the best way for our offense to be more effective, is getting the ball up the court as quickly as possible and keeping the defense on their heels. Kind of, whoa, backpedaling, whoa, here comes the Raptors again. And then boom, we're scoring real quick and stuff like that. So really good points. And I like this whole idea of like, don't hang your head after they make a basket or you don't get a foul call or something like that. Get back on defense and stuff like that and get ready to play them right away. Short memory, only in the moment and getting back. You may not get that call, Scottie, but you got to get back and keep playing. Stuff like that. Tom Duke saying, Duke, so true. I would love those guys on our team, but they aren't, so I hate them. Yeah, Patrick Beverly, he's another one of those kind of guys. You love them when they're on your team, and when they're against you, Kyle Lowry, he's another one. You hate them. You hate them when they're on the other team, but you love them when they're on your team. And that's definitely true about Kyle Lowry and these names we've been talking about. Monique saying, thanks for all the updates on the meet and greet. Helps so much if I'm late, et cetera, et cetera. All right, Monique. So, and that's actually kind of near where you sit, that area that I described inside the building. So you'll know where to find us so you can come and see us. Duke saying, didn't know that, Lex, coaching rotation. I love that fact. I've always felt that way from all the jobs I've had. It makes more sense to gain experience across the board. It's just really helpful for all the coaches and on our team. It makes them more well-rounded. It helps them to be like maybe more attractive for other teams to maybe want them to come and head coach their team. It's like, yeah, Adrian Griffin is very much a defensive coach. In fact, he was hired on our team as a defensive coach, but he's not anymore. Since Nick became the head coach the championship year, he started this system. And it really is like every 2 or 3 months, he switches it up and stuff like that. And it's really benefited the coaches under him, and it's benefited the team as far as innovation and things like that. So Trevor Gleason, he'll be 1 month, he'll be the defensive coach, then he'll be the offensive coach. Then they have a special teams coach. And they have a couple different roles. I think there's 3 or 4 different roles that those 4 guys switch around. That would be Griffin, Gleason, Watson, and Bjorgren. I think those are the 4 guys that are really switching around. And maybe the guys in the back row are switching their roles around from like scouting different roles. Like, oh, you scout this way. Oh, you're doing player development in this way right now, Rico. But we're going to have you doing scouting in the next cycle. And then, maybe you're in charge of like conditioning, coaching for a little bit for this time, stuff like that. All right, let's keep going. And Nick Nurse illuminated all this at the coaching summit in Hungary this summer. He talked about this system, switching the coaches around. And it really was his frustration under Casey as being only the offensive coach and only worried about offensive things on the team. Well, it kind of tainted what he told Casey he should do, because he wanted to favor his offensive players over the defensive players. Then you think about the Raptors teams at those times. You think about who he's actually talking about, who his guys would be compared to the defensive guys for Adrian Griffin and stuff like that. So Nameless is saying the not so fun guy. I bet he could be. He's a fun guy most of the time, but don't push him. Don't push him. And then you'll see how fun he can be. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Mason Culligan saying, I don't hate Green. I just feel he's a hater. Yeah. He might be. I don't know. He was hating on the Raptors championship. He's saying we wouldn't have won if those guys weren't healthy. And he said that to Fred's face on the podcast when he had a guest on it. I was like, I hated him for that. Some ways I have an affinity for him once again, just because he's on my Raptor Freak fantasy team right now. Maybe I should cut him, especially if he gets like suspended. Maybe I'll cut him. I don't know. Nameless saying the more chaos in Golden State, the better right now. Yeah, celebrate dumpster fires. Come on. Woohoo! It's a celebration. I love it. There's all the emoticons. You guys are really going off. All right, let's see. Duke Rocks is saying last year the Raps pace was at the bottom of the league. This year they're playing faster, especially in the zone half court. They just have to get used to playing at a higher pace. Yeah, and play efficiently and effectively and not turn the ball over, stuff like that. I think you're right. Our pace was weird last year, and it really did lead to our offensive struggles. That's the thing. How can we have such a good record and look so good and have such a good year with such an ineffective, really poor offense last year? That's what I'm saying. We have the basics on the defensive end, the rebounding, and all these intangibles as far as height and energy expended on the court, that offense is the last piece of the puzzle. And then when it locks in with everything else working good, we are going to be so overpoweringly good that we did this with an ineffective, inefficient offense last year. We did so well with our record. Just think about it that way. That it's just got to, all of a sudden, we're going to see it's going to click in and we're going to be like, holy shit, look at what's happening with this team all of a sudden. And we're going to be like, yeah, finally, we've been working towards this all last year and so far this year. And now we're starting to finally see it locked in and working right. Because that's the thing. We focused so much on defense last year. We really made the offense an afterthought. It's more like we get in transition from turnovers and make a lot of our points that way because it's really such a focus on defense. Well, let's try and get more of our offense figured out this year and focus on it this year, like we did the defense last year, making sure we build off of what and keep what we did with the defense last year. And we just build the offense up this year and stuff like that. But they're experimenting right now and stuff like that. All right, we're at almost 2.5 hours. I'm going to finish up with these last couple comments and I'll get off the air and I'll be back tomorrow for a preview for the Bulls game, which a lot of us are going to be going to. I'll be at that Bulls game tomorrow afternoon and I'll be there at 4:20. I keep saying it and y'all know. All right, let's keep going. All right, Mason's saying, get back on defense. I agree that one thing I didn't agree with, Kalo complains to refs and don't get back on defense. I love Kalo and Deebo, but they did that a lot. We need to not mess around and get back on D. Yeah, different people have been guilty of this at different times in different places. We saw Precious do this against Boston the other night, and it led to an easy basket because he was complaining about not getting a call. This is something a lot of our guys are really good about, like Pascal, Fred, OG. But some of the younger guys are still learning it, like Scottie and Precious, and that they really do need to commit to not spending too much time complaining, waiting at that end of the court and getting back and getting ready on defense quickly and stuff like that. I totally agree with this. And Kyle was guilty of this. And he caused problems with us with the refs in different ways with his personality. That's just true. It's just true. It's just who he is. Let's see. Monique's saying about the dumpster fire in Golden State. Yeah, so true. And Mason's saying, I agree. We'll see it in a little bit. So we need to lock on steaks. Lock on steaks. I'm not sure. Steaks? We're going to get some steaks. I'm going to see my folks today. They just got into Canada. We're going to go to dinner with my cousin from Vancouver that I haven't seen in a long time. Maybe we'll go get some steaks today. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a steak today. Duke's saying, also the Raps had no bench, which affected their pace. They expended so much energy on the defensive zone. They had to conserve energy in the offensive zone. Okay, that's what you mean when you say ozone. You mean offensive zone. I was like, he's talking about the ozone layer. I'm like, we're not going to start talking about environmental stuff today, are we? Yeah, okay, I can get behind this. This makes sense. Like the bench wasn't effectively coming in and spelling them for time. So they were all overworked in the style of play that we play with so many minutes and stuff like that. Okay, I can agree with this. We have more capable bench, more equitable minutes across, then maybe we won't look so gassed on the offensive end and doing well in that and stuff like that. I don't know. There's no easy answers to this that I know, but I hope that Nick Nurse does have some easy answers and some quick adjustments, just some easy things to point out to the guys that maybe they're not totally doing this year yet, that they were doing last year when they found success and stuff like that. So let's go Raptors. Awesome stream. Thank you, Monique. It's always a big part of it is you guys, the people. This is a two-way street between me and you guys, and I love it, and I appreciate it, and I really enjoy interacting with y'all every single day. So let's go Raptors. Isaac saying defense has always driven the offense. Building the bench into two-way players is key to adjusting. This is not overly relying on ISO shots, creations, and Gary needing to be hot. Yeah, we just got to find somebody to carry the water at different times. We did that last season. Fred's not playing well, then Gary steps up. OG's not playing well, then Pascal's hitting something. It's just we were having too many guys not playing well all at the same time, and it's pretty much the starters right now and stuff like that. All right, Tom, dude, let's be thankful. Let's be grateful. Let's be happy that we have a good culture on our team. And fans, let's reflect that by not being toxic and turning on our team after a meaningless game in Houston that happened last night. It's a meaningless game. It doesn't matter. Who cares? And stuff like that. Let's take the good stuff and build from it. The bad stuff, we'll learn from it, and we'll go forward and hopefully be much better tomorrow here in Toronto against Chicago. All right, guys, have a great Saturday. Tell your loved ones you love them. Be grateful. Look at the positives. Focus on the good, and the good will expand in your life in more ways. You focus on that bad, and it will expand in its own way and make your life a living hell. So it's your choice. It's really how you choose to look at life. Your perception is everything. If you perceive that life sucks, well, it sucks. If you perceive life is good, then life is good. Now apply that to your fandom of the Raptors and make that informed choice to go to the light. Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a great Saturday. Mason saying, I'll be watching the stream from now on. I was watching Raptor channels and seen this one. I'm going to follow all season, get the vibes. You got the vibes, brother. Mr. Culligan, I'm so happy to have you here, Mason. And yeah, I'll be here every single day. I promise. I did this all last year, and it was a blast. I went the whole off season every single morning talking about whatever's happening with the Raptors. So if you enjoy this stream, please hit that like, share me, subscribe. Of course, you have, obviously, because you're in the chat. And yeah, get ready for more fun and just talking back and forth. The more we get to know you and stuff like that, you know, we've all been doing this for a while, and we consider ourselves, you are a Raptor freak now, Mason. And that means you're a very positive Raptor fan that believes in us winning more Larry O'Briens. That is what we're all about. We are a cult, and we are here to help the Raptors with our energy and our vibes go towards more Larry O'Brien. So you're a part of that now, man. W for Mason, W Stream, W Cool Cat, W Tom Duke, WSB, W Lloyd, W Nardo, W John French. W Stream, baby. All right, y'all. Now be nice, get outside and touch grass, and be great, y'all. Let's go.